Oh boy, we are live, and we're going to talk about WWE Raw. Hopefully everything is working. I don't know. Is the stream working? Hopefully the stream is working. We're live right now. I just want to make sure it's working. Can you guys let me know if it's working? Okay, cool. Sounds like it's working. Tonight we're talking about WWE Raw, April 3rd, 2023. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know what to make out of this show. There was a couple things that I liked on tonight's episode, and then there was a couple things I didn't like about tonight's episode. And if you follow me on Twitter, at Ango PW, quite honestly, there was some things I was disappointed about. Now, I can't sit here and act like WWE has Vince McMahon in charge, and I can't sit here and act like Triple H has been in charge. Because me personally, as a fan of wrestling and as a fan of WWE, I have specifically been talking about how I think Vince McMahon has always been involved, of course, with Triple H taking over and doing things on a bigger level. Now, I just sat through 3 hours of Raw, and like I said, there was a couple things that I liked, but there was a lot of things I disliked. And gosh, I don't know. Like, Triple H kicked off Raw. It's like this new era of WWE. You know, it's the first episode since being bought by Endeavor. And just, there was a lot of questionable decisions that were made tonight. I swear to God, honestly, guys, I really don't know what to make out of it. So we're going to talk about it on today's live stream. I'm going to go through all of you guys who are in the chat. You know, I do my live streams a little bit differently than most people who review shows. I give my opinions. I answer questions. I read your super chats. I read your guys' questions in the chat. I try to make it interactive as much as possible. But bear with me. If I feel like if it looks like I'm not all there tonight, I'm going to be real with you guys. This was one of those things where it just did not connect with me. But I'm not going to sit here and act like WWE has done a good job with Raws after WrestleManias. The last time WWE ever did a good Raw after WrestleMania was 2018. Since then, I don't feel like they've delivered on that, quite honestly. I don't think they've delivered on that at all whatsoever. And that's the unfortunate part, right? Because last year, it wasn't that great. We barely got surprises. And this year, it was not great. And we barely got surprises. But hey, we got Matt Riddle. That's ridiculous. That right there was ridiculous. And I just feel like we need to talk about that. Les Phillips, shout out to you. Thanks for stopping by. Strong Style Ninja, Brian Gax, Swift718, shout out to you. You're a channel member. Appreciate that. What's up, Vinny? What's up, Twisted Morcus? R. Wade, Victor Sanchez, Adam, Irvin, Colin J. What's up, everybody? Thank you for stopping by. Look, there was a couple things on Raw that I did like. I liked the Bloodline stuff. I like Cody Rhodes getting attacked by Brock Lesnar. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I did tweet it out. I was talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks how we need to get to a point with WWE television where Cody Rhodes faces adversity. I think Brock Lesnar attacking Cody Rhodes is the right move. I think that's the right storyline. We get Cody away from the belt for a little bit. Now we got to start the chase, right? We got to start the chase for Cody Rhodes. Doing that with Brock Lesnar is totally cool with me. And again, if that's a Brock Lesnar Cody feud that ends with Cody going over Brock Lesnar, I think that would be a massive win. However, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. If I see WWE have Brock Lesnar go over Cody Rhodes, I will bury the absolute living shit out of the segment. I will not lie to you guys whatsoever. I truly mean that. I truly mean that. If I see that WWE gets to a point where they absolutely have Cody Rhodes lose to Brock Lesnar, I will bury the WWE on my streams. I will not watch the WWE. I will not cover the WWE the way I do. Because I can't sit here and agree with that decision if that's the decision being made. We got a super chat from Swift718 for $2. Epic post-Mania Raws are extinct species now. Yeah, it is, you know, and it kind of starts with the crowd energy. It kind of starts with so many other things. But I really feel like we haven't got a good post-Raw episode in years, to be honest. And I think maybe everybody in the community had very high expectations because of Triple H. But Triple H or Vince McMahon, like I said, it doesn't matter. To me, who is writing the show really doesn't matter. I'm just being honest. I think my biggest issue has always been, if you're going to put out a show after WrestleMania that is known for surprises and then not really deliver on surprises, I think that's a question mark. And I think that's silly. I think that's silly. I think it hurts the product, and it's evident whether it's Vince McMahon or whether it's Triple H, that doesn't matter. The show's ass. The show is ass. There was a couple things that I liked, but those things don't really matter in the grand scheme of things because I felt like tonight's episode lacked direction, and that's an issue. Thank you, Swift, for the super chat. We got another super chat for $4.99 from Shockwave, and that is why Cody should have won. He's as good as done, and I'm laughing at it all. VKM is back. Deal with the repercussions now. I'm not gonna sit here and guess whether or not Vince is running the show. I seriously cannot do that. I think people will go crazy literally trying to figure that out and feel who's running the show. But I did point out WWE did have on commentary they did say Bad Bunny was in a local medical facility. That's a Vince McMahon thing right off the rip. Which, by the way, in recent months, we have heard Michael Cole and other commentators say the hospital. So just a small little detail that I noticed, but that to me was a clear indication that Vince McMahon was a little bit more hands-on tonight. If you guys want me to be honest, and I'm just a fan, but if this is what Endeavor wants, if Endeavor thinks that this is the right way, let's just say theoretically Vince McMahon wrote today's show. If this is what Endeavor is paying billions and billions and billions of dollars, and this is what they're going to do by merging, then good luck to Endeavor because it ain't going to work out for them in WWE. It ain't going to work out with them in UFC, and this will be the worst sale, the worst thing that has ever happened in the industry. And I'm not going to sit here and act otherwise. Thank you, Shockwave, for the super chat. Appreciate you. Michael Henderson dropped a $4.99 super chat. Brock put up the double middle finger at the very end. That was a strange thing to me, and it was weird because he walked backstage. See, the thing is, he walked backstage. He walked back through the thing, and then he came back out and did that. He did the double middle finger. So is WWE, like, trying to bury Cody Rhodes? I don't want to sit there and speculate that's the case because I feel like Cody Rhodes needs adversity. I really do. I really do feel like Cody needs to face adversity if he's going to go for the title eventually. But if this is WWE's way of burying Cody Rhodes, then shame on you. Shame on you. And I feel like WWE...
Me more.
I feel like WWE just really didn't deliver what they have been delivering in weeks past. And don't get me wrong, there's good episodes and there's decent episodes. And I've said that in weeks past. But tonight, the energy just felt different. The energy felt different. I truly believe the energy felt so different tonight. And I don't know if that's because maybe we're fatigued from watching all this wrestling, especially in the last week, for myself, constantly live streaming, constantly watching everything. I watched GCW and ROH and all of these different shows, right? And maybe I'm fatigued from it, but I just felt like the energy wasn't there. And like I said before, it's been many years it's been many years since WWE has had really exciting post-WrestleMania episodes. And to me, this just fell flat. This did not have that same feeling as normal. And I feel like that is a really disappointing feeling because this is the night to show people, especially because you're announcing the sale. This is to show people that you have a new era upon you. You got NXT talent who haven't been called up. You have people who've been out with injury that are ready to come back. And it just didn't feel special. And the fact that it didn't feel special, I think, is the problem for me. I do want to also point out that as a wrestling fan, it's really important for me to acknowledge whether it's Vince, whether it's Triple H, that doesn't matter. What I watched tonight was not really that enjoyable. And again, there was a couple things that I liked. I liked the Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. The Dominic Mysterio and the Bad Bunny stuff. I liked that. There was things I liked. I liked the fact that Theory beat Rey Mysterio. I really enjoyed that. And I think that's why I had such a difficult... I guess that's why I had a difficult time watching this. Because again, maybe I'm just fatigued from everything this past week. But I was watching it tonight, and to be honest with you, I thought this was just kind of weak. And I guess I didn't expect that from WWE tonight. And maybe that's maybe we all had high expectations. But I saw the Street Profits versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I thought that was good. It was cool. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens wanted to face a tag team. These guys won the showcase match at WrestleMania. I was thinking, okay. Like everything, by the way, everything tonight in terms of booking, to be fair, because I am shitting on WWE a little bit, but everything that they did tonight was pretty logical. But at the same time, too, when I was watching WWE tonight and I see Omos go over Elias, I'm just sitting here thinking like, okay, well, we've been teasing the Hurt Business. Like, are we done with that? Are we going away from talking about the Hurt Business and all those teases? You know, it just felt kind of strange. It was a strange episode of WWE Raw. And quite honestly, I really hate that feeling. I really do. Thank you, Michael, for the super chat. We got another super chat from Ernesto Pardo. He dropped a $1.99 super chat, but there was no comment on that. So unfortunately, I can't read a comment. But guys, if you're going to drop a super chat on here, please include your comments or your questions or whatever it is that you guys want to promote or talk about, because then that way I can answer it live on air. Justin Cruz says, Ango, why did Brock... Let me turn that down. Excuse me. Justin Cruz says, Ango, why did Brock do the thing with the middle fingers? Yeah, that to me, it seemed weird. I'm not going to lie. It seemed kind of weird that Brock Lesnar did that, right? Now, it's really telling that Brock Lesnar did that, because WWE, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to. Don't get it twisted. You are not to flip off the cameras in WWE. So Brock did it. Did they do it for shock factor, or was there a significance behind it? Is it because they want people to think that Brock is going to bury Cody and then Cody eventually beats Brock? We got to let it play out. And I'm not trying to jump the gun. I actually like the idea of Brock Lesnar attacking Cody Rhodes. I guess I just expected a different kind of episode, to be honest. I think that's what it came down to. But that segment was cool. But it's not going to be cool if I see Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of... It's not going to be cool seeing Brock beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes and then Cody Rhodes gets buried. I promise you guys, if they bury Cody Rhodes, this company will go down the drain. I will not sit here and defend that company because, again, it's like I said, Vince McMahon, the only reason why I really don't think Vince McMahon truly booked everything tonight is because things were done logically. You know, Todd Crow just made a really good point. He said this felt like a normal episode of Raw, not a Raw after Mania. And I do agree with that sentiment. I really do. Everything was logical. You know, you got the women's tag team stuff. Like, as far as like the booking and like the actual, like, you know, we didn't get like a million DQ finishes like Vince McMahon normally does, right? So, again, there was things to me where it was just like, it was fine. But Raw after WrestleMania is supposed to deliver surprises. And they were supposed to deliver change. And it just didn't seem like WWE did that tonight. And you know, the cool thing is, like, we got Bronson Reed on TV tonight. So that was cool. Bronson Reed goes backstage and confronts Bobby Lashley. Okay, cool. I'm with it. I like Bronson Reed. We got to get him on TV more. He's going after Bobby Lashley. I totally get it. I totally respect it. I'm totally for it. They're teasing a match down the road. Okay, I'm very cool with that. So I am excited about that. But at the same time, too, I got to be honest with you guys. I can't sit here and act like Bobby Lashley, who had all this momentum going into WrestleMania, to not be on WrestleMania. And then he came on Raw with nothing to really do on Raw. I thought they would have done more. It was really shocking to me. We got a couple super chats. One from Andre Benson for $2. Raw felt like a Raw after WWF in your house. Yeah, I think this is fair. To me, this just felt like a normal Raw. And I think Todd Crow kind of said it best. It just felt like a normal Raw. They did do some backstage stuff. I know some people on Twitter weren't necessarily paying attention. But they did do a backstage segment where I think it was Seth Rollins or somebody walking through backstage. And then they showed Otis with the Maximum Male Models going through a makeover. That's not a Vince McMahon type of thing. That's a Triple H type of thing. Now, I will say, to be fair, right? To be fair, because I'm not trying to defend WWE, but as of late, I feel like SmackDown has always been better than Raw. Me personally, I know some people don't necessarily agree with that, but I feel like SmackDown has definitely been better than Raw in most cases. So I do want to watch SmackDown and see how much it differs from Raw. But I will be honest with you guys, the feeling. It's a very strange feeling, and I guess what it really boils down to is I think our expectations were so high based on how well Triple H and the WWE has been when you look at WrestleMania being successful and all of these different things. And then you're looking at the news that WWE has been sold and things aren't supposed to change. And Triple H comes out and tells you things aren't changing and things are going to be good, only for you to watch this damn show and see that it just didn't feel special. To say a show is good or bad, I think that's not fair. To say the show was not special, that is fair. Thank you, Andre, for the super chat. We got another one, culturally controversial podcast for $1.99. Brock is Bloodline. I mean, they did a segment with Paul Heyman, Mr. Wiseman, right? He was backstage talking to Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns had said, Roman Reigns said, hey, did you know that Brock was showing up? Which, obviously, Paul Heyman was like, no, you know how it goes with Brock. Brock Lesnar shows up to WrestleMania, and then we don't see him for 6 to 9 months, which I thought that was cool. I'm glad he pointed that out. That was something that intrigued me because they were basically addressing the elephant in the room. Typically, Brock Lesnar is not involved in WWE television after WrestleMania. And then we get to the main event. It's supposed to be a tag team match, and then Brock Lesnar destroys Cody Rhodes. I mean, it went down literally as I predicted. Like I said, I did post a tweet on it. I was texting my friend. Actually, I was texting Plana Productions. So if you guys know who Plana Productions is, he's a YouTuber, and we were talking about it. And guys, I'm just being completely honest. It was so funny because we're like, my whole thing this entire time, and I don't know if you guys, maybe you guys watch me on JD's Roundtable, but for months and months and months, the number one thing I said was that WWE just simply doesn't have adversity for Cody. It does not have a proper chase. So that's why I'm really geeked to see what happens with Cody and Brock. But again, I promise you, if Brock Lesnar destroys Cody Rhodes and Cody Rhodes does not defeat Brock Lesnar, then fuck this company. Dead ass serious too. I'm not joking. Then fuck the company, because I can't sit here and watch that show and then be super excited when the last 8 to 9 months, and I think collectively every YouTuber, every podcaster, every individual who has, and this is just the truth, right? Every individual who has been watching WWE has talked about how good WWE has been. If that's the case, right? If WWE has really been this good lately, which I think so, for them to then have Cody lose tells me something has completely changed. Thank you for the super chat, culturally controversial podcast. I appreciate that. We got another super chat from Ernesto. Ernesto Pardo drops a $4.99 super chat. I believe that the hype behind Triple H being I believe that the hype behind Triple H being in charge is what hurt Cody. I believe many assume that WWE would have done a 180 from Vince McMahon. I don't know, but that's why I really, really want to watch this closely. I really, really want to watch this closely. And I can't sit here and act like, it's, personally, like, I like the Cody and Brock Lesnar thing, but I can't sit here and say, not let it play out. Like, we got to watch it play out. But I am going to tell you guys that with Triple H being in charge or Vince McMahon in charge, it doesn't matter to me. That part doesn't matter to me, okay? Whoever's in charge, I don't care. But if you bury Cody Rhodes, kiss your company goodbye. You're not going to sign top free agents. You're not going to sign big names. Talent will leave your company. I think that for sure. I wouldn't want to work for a company. I definitely, if I was at AEW and I see Cody Rhodes get buried after this WrestleMania moment, then I would never trust the WWE to book me in their company. So to be honest with you, I think everybody had expectations. I do think there was a lot of hype with Triple H being in charge, and I know Triple H is not an angel. I know he's not the greatest booker in the world, but I feel like he has delivered such a great, healthy wrestling product in the last year that I feel like my expectations were definitely higher than normal, and that's why. Thank you, Ernesto, for the super chat. We got a couple more super chats, guys. We got one from Armando Jones for $1, but no comment from Armando. Guys, quick reminder, if you're going to leave a super chat, please drop a comment or something, question, comment, whatever it is that you may want. This way I can show you some love too. Appreciate the super chat, Armando. Thank you. We got a couple more. We got one right here. Oh, Armando dropped another one for $5. I thought Jay White in the club would debut and save Cody. Yeah, right? I'm not going to lie. That did cross my mind at some point. We didn't see the club at all on SmackDown. We didn't see any of that. And that was kind of strange, to be honest. It did feel kind of strange that they didn't do that. Maybe we get somewhere with it. You know, it's definitely, okay. The one thing I have said about WWE as of late, and trust me when I tell you guys, I did not really enjoy this episode that much. But the one thing I do enjoy of WWE is that they have been ending every single week with you wanting more to see what happens next. Despite Raw being somewhat rocky today, I was excited to see that potentially there is more to the story here, obviously. So WWE is doing more to get me invested in the Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar stuff, but at the same time, too, I'm scared for what they're going to do in the future. Thank you, Armando, for the $6 in Super Chats. Appreciate it. Swift718 dropping a $20 banger. Vince is a genius of our time. He has the superpower to procure the talents of AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Nakamura, Matt Riddle, Cody, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Rey Mysterio, Asuka, and Io Shirai in one company, but can still run us off. I don't think anybody can really say that Vince McMahon is truly a bad businessman, because I think he is a good businessman in terms of growing WWE and doing a lot of great things. But Vince McMahon, you got to remember, Vince McMahon stepped down, was supposed to retire, be done with wrestling, be done with creative. We all kind of got the impression that he was still involved with WWE in certain aspects. At least I did. I always was under the impression Vince McMahon is still there. Maybe he's not 100% involved, but he's definitely involved in a certain capacity. But also, it did look like Triple H had a little bit more freedom. However, Vince McMahon is not even the worst booker, to be honest. I just feel like Vince McMahon is still set in his old ways. You know what I mean? So, Vince McMahon can do a lot of great things in the world of wrestling, but he can also do a lot of shitty things in the world of wrestling. And I think even if he had more pros than cons, those cons are always fairly going to be big, to the point where many people would agree that they outweigh the good. And if you have a lot of good versus bad, but the bad sort of outweigh the good, then you're really not that good to begin with. And I'm not trying to confuse you guys, but the reality is, it's not like Vince McMahon. WWE didn't blow up because of Vince McMahon being an idiot. You know what I mean? But when you look at how smart he was, and then you saw how big WWE was, and then Triple H maximized it to new heights on a creative level, I think that's really what got a lot of people bought in. And I feel like that's where maybe Vince McMahon kind of went wrong, in the sense of, you know, Vince McMahon should have just left it alone. Even with Endeavor, when I saw Endeavor get involved in that respect, in that way, I thought, wow, like, you really want Vince McMahon? Like, the reason why the product is hot is because of Triple H and Bruce Pritchard and Nick Khan and all of these people involved. I don't know. And again, this was not a bad Raw. Austin Theory and Rey Mysterio got to wrestle. The women got to wrestle for a little bit. We got the segment with Rhea and Bianca. It really wasn't that bad, but it wasn't a Raw after WrestleMania. Do we understand the difference of that? I think that's really the key point that I'm trying to make. It wasn't like this garbage ass episode. I could have done without the Omos and Elias, but everything else was fine. It just didn't have that major important feeling that we typically would expect from a Raw after WrestleMania. Now, to be fair, because I do want to be fair, and to WWE's credit, I do have to be fair to them, we still have SmackDown. So I hope LWO is still being consistently used. I hope on SmackDown we get some call-ups, because that's always a possibility, you know? We do have a brand split, so maybe we see some call-ups happen on NXT, from NXT. These are things that we got to look forward to as well. But now if we watch SmackDown and it suffers the same issue as Raw, then there's no excuse from WWE. Thank you, Swift, for the $20 super chat. Appreciate that. Did we get another super chat? We did. Robin Plays Games dropping a $5 super chat. Cody's going to come back with that Super Cena energy hit. Hit with a... hey, I don't know if you spelled that wrong or what, but I can't say that on the air. 11 Cody Cutters and 17 Crossroads and win. Well, okay, hold on. Just to be fair, if we're going to fantasy book, Cody is going to need to do a lot more than be Super Cena and beat Brock. But if he needs help, there is a certain club that's backstage doing nothing backstage. So I do want to point that out. But of course, that's just me fantasy booking. Robin, I appreciate the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, dude. A lot of great things in the chat. So, for example, right now, Eric says no mention of Bayley either. And did you see her tweet? Yeah, so there was no mention of Bayley. Io Sky and Dakota Kai lost. That was weird. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. To be honest. I don't necessarily support Damage Control losing, but I have a feeling that Bayley is going to turn on them. That's my guess, and that's a story that's being told, right? I think tonight was step one. So Damage Control lost to Raquel and Liv. Raquel and Liv are going to fight for the tag team championships next week. I thought WWE made the mistake of not having Ronda and Baszler, considering that they won the tag team showcase at WrestleMania. My guess is that they're going to revisit that once Ronda's fully healthy, which I guess is fine, but it would have been nice for them to say that on television, right? I think Bayley is breaking off from Damage Control. I think there's a storyline based on her tweet and her social media activity. If that's the case, I do look forward to seeing what comes out to be. But if it's nothing good, if it's nothing special, if it's nothing important, then screw Damage Control. Just get away from it and turn Io Sky and Dakota Kai into singles wrestlers, divide them, different brands or whatever, and move on. That's kind of how I look at it. I mean, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I feel like Damage Control, in my opinion, is kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? I think at this point, the way they kind of killed it, they killed Damage Control, and that sucks. But that's the reality. Thank you, everybody, for dropping these super chats. I'm trying to get to them. The chat's moving quickly, so I'm sticking around and reading them all. We got a $5 super chat from Soul Town. Hey, WWE buried Sting, so why not Cody? They seem to be vindictive towards people who are their competition. The thing is, though, you guys got to remember, Vince McMahon did bring Cody back. Vince did bring Cody back, and he did keep him 100% to a T as the AEW Cody Rhodes. So normally I would agree with this, by the way. And I'm not saying this isn't a fair point. I do think this is definitely a realistic observation. But the reality is that Cody Rhodes did get brought in from Vince, and it was reported that Vince McMahon was totally fine on board with bringing Cody the way he was. There was championship plans and everything like that. So again, I don't want to jump the gun and say that they're burying Cody, but that's why I did say earlier in the stream, if we get to a point where Cody versus Brock and Brock destroys Cody, I'm donezo. I ain't going to support that shit. I ain't going to buy. They can charge $100 for a pay-per-view, $10 for a pay-per-view. They can give it to me for free. And the reality is, I do not give a flying fuck, to be honest, because I cannot buy a pay-per-view knowing they would do that to Cody Rhodes. I bought in on the Cody Rhodes story. So if they choose not to go that route of pushing Cody, then I can't get behind that. And for him to get buried at any point in time from Brock Lesnar tells me you're right. And Soul Town, I appreciate the super chat. I really do. But I hope you're wrong. We got another super chat from Aaron McKee. Aaron says, so it's a $5 super chat. Love your content. Keep up the great work. Just wondering, where does Seth go from here? He just kind of walked to the ring and did nothing tonight. That was so strange. That was the thing that was so strange to me, guys. I'm not going to lie. So this was one of those things where I thought it was weird. Did they do it because it was the Raw after WrestleMania crowd? That, to me, is kind of what it felt like. Like, they didn't have a plan for Seth Rollins, and then they were like, yo, we're just going to have him sing to the crowd or something. I don't know. Like, the crowd went crazy for him, and that's great, and I'm glad that they love Seth Rollins. I swear, I really do love that the crowd loves Seth Rollins, but I did find it strange that they decided to just kind of have him walk out there and do nothing. Like, you would think that there would be more to it. So I don't know what to expect from that, to be honest. I don't. One thing I will say, though, is Seth Rollins is a hell of a talent. There is no reason why he can't take a championship off of Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? I feel like he could definitely take the belt off Roman Reigns if they wanted. So to me, that was strange. I won't sit here and try to defend that garbage. I did find that to be strange. Was there another super chat that I missed? Oh, Darth Bane, I just seen that you dropped 2 super chats and I missed it. Dude, I am so sorry. Darth Bane dropped 2 super chats for $1.99. Has Roman not defended against Lashley, and why not? They honestly could have, but if they did, it wasn't obviously that good for me to remember. I don't remember that being the case, though. I honestly don't remember them having a feud or having a match or anything like that. It's always possible that they could have. There was a lot of people, and you got to remember, Roman Reigns is like 940-something days as champ. He's had very few competitors. Very few competitors since, being champion. He hasn't been competing every single week. Darth Bane, I apologize for skipping your first super chat. I saw that you'd duplicated it, but I do appreciate that, bro, so much. Thank you for the super chat, man. I really do appreciate it. Tons more of stuff in the chat. Guys, just a reminder, if you're not a member on the channel and you guys want exclusive access to our VIP Discord server, feel free to join. It's definitely appreciated. Super chats, new members, donations, things like that are just really appreciated because all I'm going to do is use that money towards building a live studio show. A lot of people don't know that, but I'm working on building a live studio talk show. And that's what all the money goes towards. So if you guys were ever curious what I do with it, that is literally all that I do with it. A lot of great things in the chat. So let's keep it coming. We have tons of great things, actually. We have Ryan Christopher Dante says Seth Rollins will help Cody Rhodes. This is not a bad idea either. To be fair, I think this could actually work a lot in WWE's favor because Seth Rollins is kind of like this weird heel or babyface. He's like a tweener, really. I mean, he's kind of like a babyface, but then he's not a babyface. So I don't really understand that whole thing. But Cody being the one to help, Seth being the one to help Cody, I think could be really cool. But personally, I would like to see WWE really do something there. But maybe Robin is right, and maybe we're going to see 17 Cody cutters and, the same moves over and over and over and over again. Look, if they want to make Cody into Super Cena, I think that's a good move, but who knows, right? Camden Culver dropping a 99-cent super chat. No comment with that one, though. Camden, guys, if you're going to drop a super chat or you're going to, anything like that, make sure you put your questions or comments attached to it. Definitely appreciate the super chat, though. Thank you. So a lot of things in the chat. Bobby says, so do you think Roman and Cody will have a rematch? I do. My belief is that Cody got attacked from Brock Lesnar because this is like a side quest, right? Now he has to go through adversity before he can go back to Roman. He has to truly work his way up. Now, if WWE doesn't do that, then that's a silly little mistake. I think they're going to pay the price for that. But to me, that's what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. A lot of people in the chat going off right now, so I'm trying to stick with it and read it all. Let's see. Nate says, I think someone in the chat said no one said that Jay White or Randy Orton or Braun Breaker was going to show up. Nate TV, on the other hand, just wanted something. Yeah, so the thing is, it's not about reports, right? Like, I don't look at dirt sheets anytime, just so you guys know. Dirt sheets, when they report on, oh, this person's joining the company, or this person's joining the company and debuting here, or this is happening. All of these different rumors and reports that come from dirt sheets, when it comes to debuts and I don't really buy into those. Now, for me, that's because I know that things can change. I know that things are done to throw people for a loop. I'm not mad by any means, and I need to make that clear. I'm not mad by any means that we didn't get Jay White or Braun Breaker, right? I'm not mad that we didn't get any of those things, or Randy Orton. I'm not mad about that. I'm so mad that Raw after WrestleMania for years and years and years was always known as the event. Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania was always known as the shows where you can expect surprises. And I feel like there was a little bit of a sour feeling for me because we got WrestleMania and we didn't get LA Knight, and we didn't get Bray Wyatt, and we didn't get Bobby Lashley. So when I noticed that, right? When I noticed that we didn't get those things, but then we got Shane McMahon, my blood was boiling. And my blood was boiling because I was so angry that while I do like Shane McMahon, there's no reason in my mind that Shane McMahon should be on WrestleMania taking up a spot from anyone else, especially LA Knight, who has been telling a story about making a moment in Los Angeles for WrestleMania. So that's where I was a little bit more bothered and a little bit more upset. And that's kind of why I felt that way. So again, our expectation is we just wanted surprises. Matt Riddle returned. Now, I'm not a Matt Riddle guy. I think Matt Riddle, the shtick is boring. It's, it used to be fun. It used to be cool. But to me, that's not special. The Matt Riddle stuff is not fun anymore. It's gotten boring. He comes out, he beats The Miz. I'm sure we're going to get the same thing. The Miz is going to come out on SmackDown and somebody's going to beat his ass. But it's not going to be, like, if it's not a call-up, if it's not anything cool, I'm not with it. Maybe it'll be Cameron Grimes, right? Maybe Cameron Grimes will beat up The Miz on SmackDown. Okay, I'd be cool with that. It's better than Matt Riddle, But again, I think all of us had expectations. It wasn't so much about Jay White or Randy or Braun Breaker or anything like that. I think for me, I can't speak for you guys, but I think for me, my big thing was like, okay, this is the night that we get surprises. Let's get some surprises. It seemed like WWE was very safe. Again, booking was fine. Booking was logical. People got to wrestle. Don't listen. Vince McMahon, WWE Raws, you know how it is. Vince would have 7 million DQs, 7 million squash matches. The women would not wrestle for more than 5 minutes. That's not the case. We can acknowledge that, right? Love or hate Vince McMahon, we know Vince McMahon does all of those things that are bad, right? We didn't get that tonight. But it just didn't feel like a special episode. We got another super chat from Rashad Mabin for $1.99, Bobby versus Roman. Listen, if you want to do Bobby versus Roman, I think it's great. I have no problem with it. Keep in mind, we have King and Queen of the Ring. Maybe Bobby Lashley can win it. I don't know. He did win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I don't know what the hell that really means, but Bobby Lashley versus Roman to me would be fun. I have no issue with that. Yeah. Shout out to Basil Key for subscribing. I appreciate it. Coding World, thank you for the subscription. Shockwave says the adversity was leaving and rebuilding and a torn pec. That's that. I get where you're coming from, but there's more layers to that story that wasn't told. And I feel like that should be told. I think there should be more layers. I think it should be a slow burn storyline. I'm not saying that would have been bad. I'm just saying that there's more that you can do, which ultimately can make them more money. That's just kind of how I view that. Justin Kennington becoming a member for 7 months. Thank you. A level 2 member for 7 months. Cody and Brock is giving me 2012 vibes when Cena just came back off of a loss and got attacked by Brock. This is Cody's first step back to get back to Roman. Yeah, I think he has to face a lot of... I think he's got to face a lot of adversity. He's got to go through a lot more, But he cannot get buried by Brock Lesnar. That's the number one most important thing, is he cannot get buried by Brock Lesnar. That's the only thing. Literally. If he gets buried by Brock Lesnar, sorry guys. Y'all ain't going to like my live streams. YouTube is going to demonetize the shit out of me. I'm going to lose my advertising because I will not be able to sit there confidently and act like I like WWE at that point. I'm a WWE fan. I'm an AEW fan. I'm an Impact Wrestling fan. I like wrestling. But when you got your favorites and you're sitting here talking and defending storytelling, and then you see WWE go against you, that's when I would have an issue. And that would be my issue with it. Thank you, Justin, for being a member for 7 months. I appreciate it. In just a little bit, we're going to get Billy onto a call. Maybe you guys remember Billy from yesterday. You guys seem to like him. We're just testing things out and seeing what it looks like, having a different person on the show. So I'll have him call in just a little bit and we'll talk. David Riley says, LA Knight versus Roman. How does that look? I mean, LA Knight needs some really big wins before he can get to WrestleMania. WrestleMania with Roman. If it's anything before WrestleMania, I don't feel like it's big enough. I feel like if you want to pass the torch, if you want to have somebody dethrone Roman Reigns, you got to do that. You got to do that. And for me, LA Knight and Roman Reigns, if you're going to have that match, you got to do it in the main event of WrestleMania. You got to have LA Knight go over with the crowd screaming, yeah, 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 right? So that's just kind of how I feel about that. Cedric Gilmer becoming a member for 7 months. Shout out to Cedric, one of the VIP members and moderator of the chat. He says, looking forward to NXT tomorrow at least. Well, we know Triple H doesn't run NXT, and we know Vince McMahon doesn't run NXT, so I don't expect anything different there. Don't know exactly what I think about NXT tomorrow, but I will watch it as I always do. I do like NXT. Some people hate the fact that I like NXT, but to me, it's not that deep because they're just developing people. And there's a couple people in NXT that I do enjoy watching. So, excuse me. I'll definitely review NXT tomorrow night. I've been live every single day, guys. Every single day, 1 to 3 videos per day, all the latest news, rumors. Plus, I have the More Ango channel, which some of you might not know this, but I do a channel called More Ango, and that's where I just kind of talk a little bit about wrestling without news. It's more like podcast feel, and that's just like opinion-based stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, you can always subscribe there. But I've been uploading crazy amount of content, plus I've been live every day for all the review shows. WrestleMania week was massively successful for the channel. We gained a couple thousand subscribers. Twitter's blowing up. I mean, it's a really good day to be a fan of Ango. So I just really quick before I read Dario's super chat, just a quick thank you. This is my second year being full-time as a YouTuber. This is my second WrestleMania week. And not only is making the coverage fun, but for those who know, I literally watch every wrestling promotion, and it's cool being able to talk about every wrestling promotion on this account and then being able to do it and just have such a great community. So if you guys aren't part of the Discord, would definitely appreciate you guys joining because it's free and it's appreciated. Dario Valenzuela dropping a $4.99 super chat. Ango, what do you think about the Usos wearing those white t-shirts? What do you think it means? I don't know if there's any significance behind it. I do think there is significance with Roman. I gotta be honest.
Feed me more.
For those who don't know, Roman was wearing the shirt, and he's been doing it a couple times recently. But he went from wearing the Bloodline shirt.
Me more.
Okay, Ryback, chill. Roman's been wearing a shirt for a couple weeks now where it's just him and Paul Heyman. And normally they have it where he would have the Bloodline members on there. Tonight, there was a cool little moment, which I got to give WWE props to this. They did a segment with the Usos where the Usos were coming to talk to Roman Reigns, right? And when they had the Usos come and talk to Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman opens the door and says, hey, he's got the jet with seafood and this and that, you know, go enjoy yourselves. He's happy with your work, blah, 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 blah. They decide to leave. But as they're leaving, Paul Heyman opens the door and looks at Roman Reigns inside the room, and he's like, my tribal chief, they are gone. So obviously Roman Reigns he wants to be separated from the Usos. There's significance there. There's significance of the Usos not being on his shirt. There's significance with Solo Sikoa being his right-hand man. And there's significance with Roman Reigns not wanting the Usos around. Now, what is that reason? I don't know. But I feel like that was a really cool moment in the segment. And again, like, these are the things that I like about WWE. So I'm glad that it continued tonight. But I can't sit here and defend the fact that it didn't feel like a major show. And that's sad. That's sad. That's bad. I don't like that. As far as the white Usos shirts, to be honest, Dario, I don't think there's any significance behind it, but maybe there is. If there is, stay tuned to the streams because I always go into a deep level. If you guys watch my content, I like to get deep with this stuff. I like to find the inner meaning of things. So if I find something or if I could think of something, I'll talk about it. This is why I go live all the time. I really enjoy this platform. What do you guys think, by the way, of my live stream format? Just out of curiosity, my live streams format's a little bit less structured, but it's more communicative. I try to interact with you guys. What do you think about that? Do you guys like it? Can you guys do me a favor and give me a thumbs up in the chat if you like my live stream format? I don't live stream enough, right? So I want to do more live streams, but only if you guys enjoy them. A lot of great things in the chat, though, so we're going to keep it going, and then we'll get Billy in here in just a little bit. Vashawn Taylor says, Ango, my only thing with Roman beating Cody, it now feels like it has to be an up-and-coming star or an established star who Roman hasn't faced to take one of the belts. They can always go back to Roman and Cody. But if they choose to go back to Roman and Cody, they got to do it the right way. So let's see what happens. I don't want to sit here and speculate on it, but that's kind of what I want to see. Nick, thank you for the love. Appreciate it. You guys are showing a lot of love. All those thumbs up. Thank you guys. I do appreciate that. Give me 1 second. James Brown Gaming says R-Truth is going to beat Roman. Man, don't do that. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Hey, I like R-Truth, okay? I really do like R-Truth, but don't do that to me. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, I like this. Negla K brought this up in the chat. He says, Brock acting so friendly with Cody. Brock has been a babyface for so long. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that Brock turned heel. But again, it don't matter. None of this matters if Cody gets buried. I don't give a shit how good it is. I can tell you guys right now, don't hate me for this. Please do not hate me for this. Please. I sincerely ask that you guys don't hate me for this. But if I see that WWE buries Cody Rhodes and the rest of the show is perfect, I am not changing my mind. I will still bury the shit out of this show on live streams. I will really, really, really be pissed. I'll really be mad because the idea is that you're supposed to get emotionally invested. That was the purpose of Cody losing. Now we're emotionally invested in him winning. And I thought Brock Lesnar is a great first feud for Cody because it's unexpected. But if it leads to Brock burying Cody, this company will be ass. And I will make it very clear that this company is ass. All right? Capiche? We got a super chat from Michael. Thank you, Michael, for the $5 super chat. Could WWE wait for The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WWE SummerSlam for the Undisputed Championship? What are your thoughts, Ango? Michael, I'm going to be honest, and it's just my opinion. I'm over The Rock. If you guys want to see The Rock in WWE, that's cool. Maybe my mind will change at some point. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I can't sit here and act like I want to see The Rock anymore. That ship has sailed. Especially because you could have had Cody versus Roman night 1 or night 2 and then had The Rock versus Roman night 1 for 2 championship belts, right? I think that was logical. Imagine if, you know, and this is the problem. They fucking shot themselves in the foot with the way they booked it. And they could have had The Rock versus Roman night 1 for the Universal Championship. Rock could have lost. Roman could have been beat to shit, injured, whatever. So that way it justifies, logically speaking, why he would lose to Cody on night 2 for the WWE Championship. And WWE didn't do that. And because they didn't do that, to me, I'd no longer care about the idea of The Rock showing up. That's the reality. That's the reality. So I'm not too interested in The Rock versus Roman at any point in time. SummerSlam should be Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. And that's that. In terms of The Rock, keep him away from WWE.
Feed me
Seriously.
more.
Thank you, M, for subscribing. I appreciate that. We're going to bring Billy on in about 11 minutes. So Billy will join us and we're going to debate because Billy was blowing up my phone today. Absolutely bashing WWE, but sometimes I'm pretty good at calming Billy down, so we're going to talk. I think we have great conversations. You guys seemed to like Billy on the channel last night. That was great. We had a couple crazy amount of viewership last night, so we'll bring him on in about 10 minutes or so. But yes, thank you, Michael, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Several hundred people are watching live. Guys, just a quick reminder, because I'm getting some super chats and like super stickers and stuff. Please make sure you leave a comment or a question with your super chat if you're going to leave it. Anybody who knows me knows that when I get super chats, I like to read your questions. I like to interact with you guys. So I do appreciate you guys for supporting the channel. Nate says JD is going off right now. Yeah, I would probably expect that. It probably sounds like he's saying something about Vince McMahon running the show, which I wouldn't blame him for saying that either. Albert Bonds dropped a $5 super chat. Have that nagging feeling Brock is going to bury Cody bad. I think we are in a WWE that is booked 75% Triple H and 25% Vince, depending week to week. We'll see SmackDown, right? I think that's what it comes down to is we'll see SmackDown. NXT to me is always separate. We know Shawn Michaels and WWE does their own thing differently with NXT. So we'll see what happens with NXT. But I would say SmackDown will be very, very important. And again, Albert, if you watch the show, like, there are certain things that had Vince elements to it, but it wasn't bad. That's the reality. It wasn't bad. But at the same time, too, our expectations are higher because it's Raw after WrestleMania. And I think that is where people are more upset. That's where I'm upset. Out of all the surprises, you have NXT talent, Cameron Grimes. You have a whole bunch of people who have yet to be called up. And we know that they're supposed to be called up because they've been taken off NXT television, only for them to not be called up. It's strange. But again, to be fair, because I agree and I get it and I'm pissed off. I'm telling you guys, my energy was all out of whack tonight. It really was. And I know I'm tired. I've worked extremely hard in the past few weeks. Actually, to be honest with you guys, I didn't say this, so I'll just take a second to say this. March 2023, I set a record across all my socials. I did over 12 million views. And I don't like to flex my statistics or anything like that. That's not what I do. But just to give you an idea, I have worked tremendously hard last month. Really since middle of February, I feel like I've really dialed in on my content and my social media and everything. And I'm seeing it pay off. And a lot of this comes from you guys just supporting me and stuff. So of course I am a little bit tired, and I thought maybe that just kind of had something to do with it. And for some reason, maybe that wasn't actually the case. I don't know. Excuse me. But yeah, I do agree that maybe Brock is going to bury Cody. And the middle finger thing was the thing that kind of told me that they could be doing that. If that's the case, bro, count me out. Count me out. You guys know how I feel about AEW right now. AEW has some good television, but overall, I think that company is struggling. I think WWE has improved a lot, but when I see Brock Lesnar, I don't know. When I see Brock Lesnar flipping off the camera, to me, it was just a strange thing. And hey, if they're doing it because he's allowed to, I have no problem with that, by the way. You know what I mean? That's just not typically a thing that WWE allows. So, I don't know if that's a cryptic message. I don't know. I don't know what to make out of it. Thank you, Albert, for the super chat. Appreciate you, bro. Les Phillips dropping a $4.99 super chat. Roman said it best last night at the press conference. This is only chapter 3 of the story. Relax, folks. You're being fed filet mignon. Yes, this is fair. Oh, as far as the Cody Bloodline stuff tonight, I have zero issue with it. That I do want to make that clear because I don't want people to get it twisted. Tonight, as far as the Bloodline, everything that had to do with the Bloodline, everything that had to do with Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, I support it. I have zero issue with it. I have zero issue with Cody losing. I need to make that super freaking clear. I do not have an issue with that. I don't think there's an issue with that. But if Brock wins, that's where I feel differently about it. That's where I'm going to have an issue with WWE. That's where I will lose my faith with WWE. That's where I won't give a shit about Endeavor. I won't give a shit about the UFC. I won't give a shit if it's Vince McMahon or Triple H. Guys, if WWE is bad, it's easy to point the fingers and say it's Vince McMahon. If WWE is good, it's easy to say it's Triple H, right? It don't matter who books it. Deliver what people want. Simple as that. So if Brock Lesnar is the adversity that Cody Rhodes is going to get, but he's going to bury Cody and just throw him around and do nothing, count me out. This is how people lose trust with the WWE. This is why people lost trust with WWE over the years. I have a cousin who texted me all night being like, it just feels weird tonight. He's like, it just feels weird to me tonight. I don't know what it was. Now Sean Ross Sapp came out and said it was rough. There were some talent that were very frustrated backstage. If that's true, I wouldn't be shocked. If that's not true, I wouldn't be shocked. But I can't speak for other people and how they work their job. I just know as a fan, I felt like this was a weird show. I'm guessing that there was probably some chaos. My guess is that Vince McMahon and Triple H are both responsible for it. And until we have 100% clarification that it's not one or the other, they're both getting the blame. And that's that. But yes, Bloodline, Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, filet mignon. I agree with that. Thank you, Les Phillips, for the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate that. Big MGM. Excuse me. I should have grabbed a water bottle before I started. Big MGM says for a $1.99 super chat, Brock better lose. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, right? That's what I think it comes down to. It's just how you book it. That's all. You know what I mean? I think if Brock wins and Brock beats Cody, yeah. And I feel like it's getting repeated a lot throughout the stream, but I guess I just can't stress the importance of that because, again, I know the other people on YouTube. I know JD and I know everybody it's everybody's fair and pointing fingers at Vince or Triple H or whatever. For me, it's not about who runs the show. It's just how the show is ran. If Tony Khan didn't run AEW and it was Jerry Lynn and I didn't like it, it wouldn't matter. Whoever owns the company is responsible for it. So this is Endeavor's problem now, by the way. Endeavor is the one who's going through with this merger. You know, it falls on them. Nick Khan, Vince McMahon, Triple H, I don't give a shit who's got the book. I don't give a shit who makes the decision. I don't give a shit whatsoever. You're all responsible for it. And tonight's episode definitely did not feel big time. Thank you, Big MGM, for the super chat. Appreciate that. A lot of people in the chat. We're going to keep going through. So Trevon States says, could we see Rhea versus Bianca title for title? I don't want that at all. My impression was they were planting the seed. And if they're planting a seed for the future, I'm cool with that. I think they're a big time matchup. I think that's a big matchup. Very big matchup. But if they're going to do that, that's main event WrestleMania worthy, in my opinion. I don't want to see the titles get unified, though. I don't. And I know my personality trait is a little bit different from a lot of people on YouTube. In other words, my personality trait is a lot different than JD. But I think me and JD kind of see wrestling very similarly at times. And of course, sometimes differently too. But JD gets worked up and he yells, right? And he's super passionate. And for me, I'm super passionate. The same, I think we're all passionate. But right now, as much as I want to yell, it's one of those things where I can't yell until I see what happens Friday night. I think that's really the big thing for me is I have to see what happens Friday night. I'm not worried about NXT tomorrow. I'll be live for NXT tomorrow after NXT. But I don't know how I feel right now about WWE going into SmackDown. And again, we could sit here and point fingers at Vince, Triple H, Nick Khan. It's Endeavor. They own the company. They own the WWE. I don't give a fuck who's running the company. I don't give a fuck what old person is sitting in a suit with millions and millions of dollars going into their pocket. To me, that's their job, is to put out good TV. I can't speak for everyone, but my personal opinion is if you can't remember the good times of Raw after WrestleMania and you're just giving us regular episodes, then don't treat it as a big deal. I guess that's the way I kind of look at it. We got a super chat from Ernesto Pardo again. Thank you, Ernesto. You're going hard with the super chats today. I appreciate it. He says, even if Cody beats Lesnar and gets another title shot and wins, the special moment is gone for Cody. Timing is everything, and WWE blew it. This is something I disagree with, man. I do. Because I think if he can get past Brock Lesnar and they can create some good stories, and I think Brock Lesnar should just be the first bump in the road. But if he can do that, I think that would be really... I think that would be really good for WWE. You know, I think that would be really good for Cody. For Cody to really go through all of these major roadblocks only to eventually beat Roman Reigns. I think that's a really massive move. I think my thing that I'm pissed about is, like, titles are unified. Imagine, this is not an issue if the titles aren't unified. Really, that's what it comes down to. But WWE, I think they really want them to be unified for 1,000 days. I think that's what they're looking for, and I think that's stupid. But listen, I'm being real with you, man. I'm being real with you. Timing is everything. But I knew beyond WrestleMania that this is a story that we got to get invested in. So I'm going to keep waiting and keep waiting and keep waiting. I have to let it play out, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I do, because I understand the vision. But that's why I was super keen on being super negative about Cody potentially getting buried, because if he gets buried, then that's why I said I don't give a fuck about this company. I will not sit here and defend the company. I try to be fair with the way I observe WWE and AEW, right? I try to let things play out to give them the benefit of the doubt. But if you burn me, then fuck off, right? That's just kind of how I feel. Ernesto, thank you again for the super chat. We're going to bring Billy in. Keep those super chats. Keep the chat running, guys. I appreciate it. Let's bring in Billy. This is going to be fun. I'm going to have to probably censor Billy. He seems pretty mad today. I might have to do that. I don't know if I got Billy on the line yet. Billy, join. Big MGM also made a good point. He says, look, the reaction tonight showed the fans are 100% still behind Cody. The crowd wasn't great tonight, but once Cody, Seth, and Sammy showed up, they came unglued. Yeah. Billy, what's up, bro? All right, buddy. So I'm going to unmute you. I just want to make sure you didn't join the call raging like crazy, you know?
Thinking about how I was going to do it, I was like, man, should I come on here mad? I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it calm, cool, and collected. But I'm going to be voicing my opinion a little bit tonight.
For sure. So, guys, I have Billy Davis here on the line. He's been on the channel a couple times. I like to bring in some guests on the channel from time to time and just talk and debate and do these types of things. Billy was on the channel yesterday. You guys seem to like it. We had some really cool conversation. But now it's been
do the same thing today.
Yeah, it's 24 hours later. Things obviously feel a little bit different. The optimism that we had yesterday felt a lot different today. And then Billy was texting me all fucking night, and you were mad, bro. And I think the thing is, I feel like you kind of knew why you were mad, but I don't think you knew exactly in detail why you were mad. And I was like, you know what? Let's talk about this. Let's figure out. Maybe I can.
Why exactly? Maybe you can bring some light to my situation on why maybe I'm mad.
Because maybe you're mad about something that I'm also mad about, and then maybe you're mad about something where it's like, okay, you're just on Twitter or you're on social media and people are saying bad things.
Looking at it.
Yeah.
Right.
So you watched Raw tonight. Kind of give me your rundown really quick. What'd you think overall?
Okay, so again, I'm going to come on here and I'm going, because number one, I want to say that you, Ango, are one of the most open people that I've ever met. Right? Yeah. Especially when it comes to things like this. Again, you're very relaxed in these situations. For me, number one, okay, I want to take us back to Nashville, right? SummerSlam in Nashville. I know that's pretty far back, right? Kind of right when Vince walked away, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the feeling going into that show? Do you remember how you felt?
Not really, to be honest.
No,
Nah.
No, I do. I remember how I felt.
Tell me.
I remember feeling optimistic, questioning, but optimistic.
Yeah.
Right? So let's fast forward to last night when you and I have a conversation, right? We have this conversation. We talk about Endeavor and how they've bought the WWE, or not even bought. It's a merger thing. There was no money exchanged, whatever the case, right?
Yeah.
We now go in last night, and what are we? We're optimistic.
Yeah.
And we're hopeful. Right? Watching this bullshit tonight, brother, I don't know. I have no fucking words. I'm sorry for cussing on your channel, but I have no fucking words to what I just witnessed. Number one.
Okay, so hold on.
Yeah.
I want to do this by segments or per scenario. So give me a scenario where you felt that way. You don't know what the hell's going on. Let's start there.
Okay, so boom. Right? We start with Roman and Cody.
Okay.
Exactly how it should have started.
Yeah.
Or it starts with Triple H, and it starts with Triple H, and he's coming out. I heard it was in a major announcement. For what? We lied? We're just gonna lie off the jump?
Well, no, he comes out and he confirmed the sale.
Great. We knew the sale.
No, hold on.
Are you going to say that? Are you going to sit here and say that, okay, the casual fan did not know about the sale?
It's not about casual fan or hardcore fan. Nobody's allowed to talk about that on my channel because nobody knows what the fuck a casual or hardcore fan hardcore. Okay, but hold on, though. To be fair, that was something that was on CNBC. That wasn't something that was on WWE programming. Just keep that in mind. To be fair, WWE didn't have a program or some sort of acknowledgement on their own television show about it. So just to be fair, that's why Triple H opened it up. But anyways, continue.
Okay. So, for me, personally.
Yeah.
This is opinionated, by the way.
Sure.
I'm going to make that clear. This is opinionated. Mm-hmm. I'm coming on here and giving opinions.
Yeah.
People are allowed to feel different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in my personal opinion, what I listened to tonight was a man get super excited over a product that he has been working on for the last 8 months, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Come out there, say nothing is changing, and give me everything that felt like change, and not the good kind.
Okay. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Sincerely.
Go ahead.
Like dead ass serious, right? Because I agree with you.
Yeah.
No, I do and I don't, right?
Yeah.
Raw tonight felt like a normal episode of Raw. Like, they still have stuff teasing in the background segments. They still have people actually wrestling. Okay, you did get one squash match or whatever with Omos and Elias. That's different because WWE has done that in the past too. Triple H has done squash matches, especially with Ali getting squashed, right? So we saw that with Omos and Ali and everything. Okay, so that's cool. So it's not entirely different show from what Triple H has done in the past. However, and I think your issue is it's the Raw after WrestleMania, and it did not feel like a Raw after WrestleMania, especially considering that Triple H hyped it up, right? Like, you kind of felt like, especially when the commentary, and nobody has mentioned this, but I will mention this.
Oh, I know what you're about to mention.
No, you don't actually, because commentary kept hyping it up. Oh, this is like kind of like a new era in a sense, right? Like, they kind of made it feel like, oh, this is what, we're going into, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, it seemed like they were definitely being cheerleaders for this new era of WWE, and then we didn't get any of those surprises to make you feel like that was actually the case.
One thing I want to say to you, brother.
Yeah.
Local medical facility.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that, though.
What?
No, I mean, I think it's silly. I think it's stupid, but let me ask you a question. If AEW or WWE says hospital or local medical facility, do you really give a shit?
No, you don't bat an eye, but you know what it is.
Of course, I said that. I said that
too. You know what it is.
Of course.
It's the same bullshit stick.
But that's the big thing, right? That's the big thing. Does it really make a fucking difference on the show that you're watching? Because if it does, then I'll go and live stream WWE Raw and then do commentary for you. And when Bad Bunny gets chokeslammed through a table, I'm going to say, Bad Bunny unfortunately was taken to a hospital today. Would that improve your experience, Billy?
Listen, I know what you're trying. I know what you're trying to do.
No, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just telling you, like, dude, listen, I said it earlier on the stream. I said it on Twitter. It's definitely a Vince move, for sure. Yeah, and it's 100%. Stupid. It's stupid in my opinion. I think that's ridiculous. Silly. I think that's dumb stuff. I think that's the stuff that, like, really? Like, really? Like, not saying the word hospital?
Right.
Fuck. Like, that's my issue, right? But to me, it's not like, oh, this show is the worst show ever because they said hospital or they said local medical facility. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there's a difference.
I understand that, but it's okay. Number one, we take a look at the day, right? What was announced today? The big sale.
Yeah.
What does Vince say in this little segment with Ari Emanuel? He says, "Oh, I'm not. Yes and no. I'm a part of creative, and I'm higher in the higher ranks, or whatever the fuck he said."
Yeah.
And then goes, "I'm not in the weeds. We love the weeds, but I'm not there."
Yeah. So do you think 100% Vince McMahon is back?
So, and this is what I was about to get into.
Yeah.
Now, without me saying this, right? It almost feels like Vince came back, right? Now he has somebody to blame. If this show's bad, if this show is truthfully bad, right? He now has somebody to blame.
Which is who?
Right?
Who do you think he blames?
He blames Triple H. That's who he can blame.
Okay.
If the show's bad, he can look at Ari Emanuel and go, "Hey, yeah, this is on this guy."
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's the reason this show's bad. I'm not in the weeds.
So, just to give you an idea, because that is true, but Vince McMahon isn't the boss. So people do need to remember that. He's not the boss.
And that's why I said he reports to Ari Emanuel and tells Ari Emanuel.
He does. Yeah. Just like Dana White does. Now, here's the thing. Ari Emanuel had basically said that Nick Khan is the president of WWE and that Dana White's the president of the UFC, and that's how it's staying. So with Vince being the executive chairman, and I'm not discrediting what you're saying because technically that is true. If the UFC sucks or if the WWE sucks, Vince McMahon for both companies is fucking destroyed, right? Technically speaking. Vince could always point fingers, but at some point, if everybody was fine before Vince and then things go wrong after Vince, you start pointing the fingers at Vince. You can't point the fingers at Dana for UFC. You can't point the fingers at Triple H or Nick Khan. So at the end of the day, Vince McMahon does have a boss now. I don't think Vince McMahon is 1,000% wrapped up in creative. I don't. I think, based on the show that I saw, when you get past the fact that the lack of surprises and the lack of crazy moments that WrestleMania or Raw after WrestleMania typically brings, once you could get beyond all that, this was very much a Triple H show in terms of booking. It was.
Now, what I'm gonna say to you is something you already said during your live stream. I got a little pissed when you said it. I was like, damn, I was gonna say that.
What?
It's that I'm gonna give this shit till Friday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this shit till Friday.
Why?
Why? Because, hear me out. I am a 25-year-old grown man.
Okay.
25 years old. LWO was not on that show. They had a huge segment going in at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It was huge. It was the second biggest story leading into the thing.
Okay.
They were not on that show.
Okay.
And Rey Mysterio was on the show. You said it. Rey Mysterio is a SmackDown star.
Yeah.
LWO are SmackDown stars. Where the hell were they?
But if they're on SmackDown, it fixes everything for you?
If they are on SmackDown, I will calm down. I'll shut up. And you can sit here and call me everything under the sun.
Billy. The thing is, I think it's silly that they weren't on there, but they have two shows, and that's the brand they technically belong to. Do I think it makes 100% sense? No, but unfortunately, that's the excuse that they get to use because they are technically on SmackDown, right. Which is the truth. Now, the thing is, like, again, I'm tired. I've been nonstop grinding. You know, man, for months now, I've been going really hard. So for me, I just felt like I was definitely tired, and I felt definitely fatigued throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I already went, just so everybody's fair, like, as I talk about Raw tonight, I already went into it with a bad mood. Tired, fatigued, low energy. Last week,
you had said that to me.
Yeah, and like last week, every single day I was in the gym. This weekend, between WrestleMania and stuff like that, I just wasn't able to go to the gym. So I already felt like a little bit off. So then I went into WrestleMania with like, all right, everything's cool. The sale, obviously, everybody, you know, nobody truly knows exactly what's going down, but we kind of know based on what's happened in the past, like what's going down. You know, and the thing is, what it really comes down to is you really can't trust what these old people are saying. That's what it comes down to. Because if SmackDown doesn't do surprises, I'm going to be disappointed. But if SmackDown feels like SmackDown, how it's been for the last 8 months, I really can't get mad. I can't. You know, that's the reality. There was a super chat from Big MGM. I didn't want to skip it. I know it's just been a few minutes because we were talking. So shout out to Big MGM and thanks for being patient. Big MGM dropped a $4.99 super chat. He confirmed the sale and very subtly alluded to not being ousted from creative. And I was actually going to mention this too. It's like Vince McMahon made it very clear to say like he's not separated from the creative process, yet in a way he's still involved with creative, but he's not completely involved with creative.
That man is there. That man is there.
He's been there since day one.
Has he though?
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Because like I said, we go back to Nashville.
100%. 100% he's been.
Like I said, we go back to Nashville. These feel like two separate entities.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
What?
If you watch the show closely, they really, really don't. They don't. I'm telling you. The reason why they don't is because if we know how a Vince McMahon show runs, bro. 20 squash matches, more promos, less matches, women wrestle for 2 minutes. This is not a Vince McMahon type of show. I think, does it have people on the show that Vince McMahon wants on the show? Yeah, I can see that.
Well, that's my whole point that I'm trying to make is 8 months ago, we had the people that most of us wanted to see, right? We wanted to see these guys get pushed. We wanted to see these up and comers, right?
So
that was our whole excitement.
Hold on. So Billy, who was somebody on the show tonight that you didn't want on the show tonight? Just so I have an idea.
On tonight?
Yeah, tonight.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I do not care about Omos. I do not.
Okay, so you don't care about Omos. Okay.
I do not. Not at all.
Okay. So if in a couple of weeks there's a story, because again, you got to build stories, right? In my opinion, at least. If we start building to something with Omos, and this is the start of it, would that change your mind, or you just simply don't like Omos?
No, I simply don't. I simply don't like Omos. That is what that is.
Okay.
That is what that is. You can sit here and give me any story with Omos. I'm sorry, I'm not intrigued by it. Why? Omos, I'm sorry. I've watched his matches. It's the same shtick every fucking time.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because I know you're excited about a possible Hurt Business, right?
I'm excited about a possible Hurt Business with a Carmelo Hayes, a MVP, a Bobby Lashley, who is a dog. I'm sorry, I don't need Omos, and I know where you're about to go with this.
No, I'm just asking if it led to something good that you would like, would you still feel the same? That's all. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Because here's the thing.
And what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is, are we there? Have we reached that point? No. Because
you would never. This isn't AEW, bro. They don't tell a story in one day. You know that.
Yes, I do know that. Trust me, I'm fully aware of that.
So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. If you don't like Omos, listen, I can't tell you to like Omos, bro. Wrestling is subjective.
No.
If you don't like Omos, okay, that's fine.
Exactly.
However,
and that's my opinion.
However, though, when Triple H was building to WrestleMania and Omos was doing squash matches, you didn't complain about that. You see what I'm saying? So it's fine if you don't like Omos. That's completely fine. But that doesn't make it a Vince McMahon show because Triple H was putting him in squash matches.
So what makes it a Vince McMahon show, right, is what you just said. You have Vince's people on this show, right?
Certain people, in my opinion, are Vince people.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, certain people.
Yeah.
You have these people, like, let's just say The Miz, right?
Yeah.
Who for a while, the last 8 months, we'll say, was not doing much of anything. He was just kind of there because he's a veteran, and obviously Triple H has a relationship with him, regardless whether we know it or not. The Miz was a popular guy.
Still is, yeah.
Yeah, very popular. My thing about it is, okay, so we bring back Matt Riddle. Number one, we could have done a lot more with Matt Riddle than the same old bullshit stick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We could have done a lot more. I promise that somewhere deep down, there is a character inside of that man that is not flipping off his sandals in some drafts.
Yeah.
And that, it doesn't seem...
I'm with you on the Riddle thing. I don't care about Riddle. And Riddle needs change. He needed change beforehand.
He does. He needs change bad, dude. And the fact that you hold him off TV for so long, and again, I'm not emotionally attached to this. One thing that I'm gonna say to you is I'm 25 years old, right? You're a grown man as well. I'm 25 years old. I watch this show because I want to be intrigued. Yeah. What's the one thing that we've always said about wrestling? It's like a soap opera, right?
Yeah.
It's emotionally driven. Why is there only one thing that makes it feel like a soap opera to me?
So what was it?
It was Roman and Cody. That's the only thing. And then
okay. So that's where we would differ then in our opinions for tonight then. Clearly. Because the Judgment Day with Bad Bunny got me super excited when Damian Priest is talking to Adam Pearce, and how he would talk to Bad Bunny, being like, "You're my boy. Hey, you're my boy. Like, you're my guy. Like, now you're picking fights with him. Like, why would you do that, bro? Now you're making me do this, right?" And then he chokeslams Bad Bunny. He goes and talks to Adam Pearce. I thought that was wonderful.
The stuff with Bad Bunny is great. It's
great.
So
hold on. But hold on. You said soap opera, and the only thing you said tonight was the Bloodline thing, but now you're telling me it's the Judgment Day thing. So that's why I was telling you that's where we disagree.
No, I never said it was the Judgment Day thing. What I said is that the Judgment Day and what it does, I'm sorry, the Rey Mysterio and the Dominic Mysterio, was I emotionally attached to that? Yes, because you understand that.
Okay,
right?
So that's 2 segments or 2 matches or 2 segments that you were interested in. Okay, what else? That was it?
I'm not. I said Dom and Ray, not Austin and Ray.
So Dom and Ray, how did you get to Dom and Ray?
What
happened on television to get to Dom and Ray though?
What I'm saying, Ray faced Austin Theory, and obviously.
Okay. So hold on, because I know what you're saying now, but think about this for a second. Slow down for a second and think. Actually, so you started off your statement by saying the Bloodline was the soap opera thing that keeps you intrigued. That was the only thing. Then I brought up the Damian
tonight.
I know, but then I brought up the Damian Priest Bad Bunny thing, and you said the Dominic Mysterio Rey Mysterio thing as well. Right? Correct? You agree?
No, because that's not what I said.
That didn't keep you intrigued then. I'm just wondering, did that keep you intrigued? I'm just trying to figure it out because
tonight had nothing to do with. I mean, it kind of had something to do with Dom and Ray, but you brought Bad Bunny into the mix with Damian Priest.
Why?
No, I'm not attached to that yet.
Okay, so hold on. We're not attached to that yet. Do you remember watching WrestleMania? I know it's only been 24 hours, 48 hours, So I just want to make sure we watched a lot of wrestling. I just want to make sure you remember.
A lot of wrestling.
So to be completely fair, right?
Yeah.
How did Rey Mysterio defeat Dominic Mysterio? How? What happened? Bad Bunny got involved, right? He took
with
the belt,
chain,
whatever.
with the chain. Yes, with the chain.
Okay, so you're following along. So after Theory defeats Rey Mysterio and Dominic and Damien come out, right? What happens? Dominic goes to who? Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Okay, Billy. So you're telling me that it didn't get you intrigued. You don't know like how you're getting there, right? Like you're like I think you gotta slow down for a second and think. The Dominic Rey has Bad Bunny involved since WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're intrigued with Dom and Rey, then you automatically have to be intrigued because Bad Bunny was in it. He's involved in it. So obviously the plan is some sort of tag match or some sort of match at Backlash, right? Something.
Yes.
There's a story. So now we know, and I would say more than likely, hopefully, if I'm being optimistic, I would say hopefully by Friday for SmackDown, we have, because I don't expect Bad Bunny to be on TV every week.
But especially LWO thing, maybe.
Of course, right? Especially when you consider Bad Bunny got written off to the local medical facility, right? So my point that I was making is, so the Theory and Rey Mysterio match led to that, right? Anyways, continue. Was there anything else?
I mean,
in terms of matches that you feel like you weren't invested in or you're not intrigued to see what's next?
Oh yeah, definitely. The Raquel and Liv Morgan and Lita, Becky. I thought we just had a match at WrestleMania that was supposed to be for a shot at the tag titles, but I guess that meant nothing.
No, they never. So I agree with you, but they never clarified that the showcase match was number one contender.
I could be wrong. Be wrong. But I can remember a SmackDown where they did say that it was for the tag titles. It was a shot.
I wouldn't normally I would agree with you, but to be honest with you, it's so confusing to me because even when Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens fought the Street Profits tonight, they commentary put them over for winning the match, but like when you listen to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn cutting their promo, it had nothing to do with them winning the Fatal 4-Way. They were challenging any random team backstage, and then Street Profits came out. Then commentary reminded you that they ended up winning.
That they won, that they won.
But they never said that match was a number one contendership match. So I think while I agree with you, I also disagree with you, and I disagree with myself in the sense that those matches technically are number one contenders. I think it's silly because Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler won the showcase match. So that's my whole point. So technically speaking, they're not number one contenders because they didn't say they were. But in my mind, in my heart, I feel like they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Can I tell you how this feels?
Yeah, tell me.
How this feels? And again, the reason why I go back to SummerSlam is because of those two things. I was optimistic and I was hopeful, just as the same way I was last night when we talked about Endeavor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was optimistic and I was hopeful. After watching today, something felt off. Now, again, this is why we have these conversations, right? It's so we can come to some sort of agreement around somewhere, and hopefully you can bring some light to me, or maybe I can bring some light to you, whatever the case is. What this feels like, though, what this truthfully feels like, is that Vince is there.
Yeah.
He is involved. Obviously, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
He now has a person within Triple H who he can now look at and be like, okay, well, something's not going right. Because it looks as if Vince is giving him everything and going, make this work.
And Triple H has to make this work. That's what you're saying.
And Triple H has to make this work. That's what this looks like.
I can see that very well being the case.
That's what this looks like. And that's why I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I'm hurt
I can see that
because
being
you're
the
not
case.
giving Triple H the reign that he deserves. Because we've seen him do it with his own mind. And in his own mind, that's where we get a show like SummerSlam or even the Royal Rumble, possibly, or we go back to, some of the other pay-per-views that just felt Bray Wyatt, the QR codes, dude. Triple H has a mind and he hears people.
Yeah.
He hears them. Right? And you can tell when Triple H hears people.
Yeah.
You can feel it, right?
Yeah.
That's when you're doing all. Where's Alexa Bliss? Where's she been? Hold on.
She confirmed she had skin cancer treatment or something.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
oh,
so
wow.
she had a different scenario. She tweeted it out at one point. That's why she missed WrestleMania.
Okay.
That's why she's been taken off TV.
Okay.
It's strange, but I mean, look, you know how I feel about AEW and WWE not disclosing certain things.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, too, she did it on her own accord.
Yeah.
Because I agree.
Yeah, that was just a thought process in my head, right?
So let me ask you a question, though.
Yeah.
Like, and this is just kind of like the reality. Because I didn't expect... Again, I think we all have higher expectations just being, like... I think we all have higher expectations considering the fact that it's Raw after WrestleMania, right?
Right, you go in with big expectations because years passed.
For sure. And that's why I said I agree with, like, Riddle and stuff. Honestly, though, I feel like the last time Raw after WrestleMania was good was 2018. And it's actually...
I heard there was a beach ball. That's all I'm saying.
Tonight?
Yeah, I heard there was a beach ball.
Bro, when I was at WrestleMania 34, we had beach balls. That shit was a good-ass time, bro. But it was different. The crowds are different. Wrestling's different. I don't know. I mean, maybe
Exactly.
WWE... I can't speak for that stuff, in terms of crowd. I thought tonight the crowd was somewhat decent. I thought Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Street Profits, like, I thought that was cool.
That was good. Yep.
Yeah, like, I thought that was... my whole thing for me is, okay, like, let's get the tag team division back on track. And I feel like they're starting to do that, right? Which was the first thing I asked for post-WrestleMania. That's why I say, like, when you really, really sit down and think about some of these things, like, it's not that it was, like, fucking terrible or, like, illogical. Because Vince McMahon is always illogical with his booking. And tonight I did feel like that wasn't the concern. I just feel like tonight didn't feel special.
Yeah.
That's my issue. Like, when it comes down to everything, it feels like tonight didn't feel special. The Bloodline stuff, like the Bloodline stuff felt special. The Bloodline stuff, the Dominic and Theory, Ray, Bad Bunny, Damian Priest, that stuff felt special to me. I thought the and to be fair, and I'm not trying to defend WWE here, but considering it's the one thing I bag on them the most, the number one contender tag team match, I have issues with it. As I stated earlier, there were some issues I had with it, but it is nice to see that they did have a women's tag team match on Raw. Because my number one thing that I've been pissed off about for a while was they don't do anything with it. It's almost like they ignore it for weeks. Yeah. Clearly, to me, we got to watch next week because it's going to be Raquel and Liv versus Lita and Becky. I think that's when we get the Trish Stratus turn. I think we're going to see new champions, But guess what, dude? You know how we're going to know if Vince McMahon is booking the show?
How?
If we don't get women's tag team championship matches at all. Because Triple H sucked. Triple H sucked with the women's tag team championship, but
he put it on TV
at
made
least.
It somewhat of, yeah, right. He
somewhat
made
on
it
TV.
somewhat of a priority.
Somewhat, not really, but somewhat.
Can I mention something from your chat that I seen?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, is that Okay.
Just shout them out though. Unless it's bad. Unless they said something bad, don't shame them. But if they said something nice or cool, yeah, or a good comment, like a normal comment, yeah.
It's Keith Sneed, and he asked you a question. He said, Ango, do you feel that Vince should have sold the company to NBC or Fox instead of Endeavor? Because, again, if this is how Endeavor runs a show, then it's going to be crap. Now, can I chime in on this? Do I have your approval?
Yeah, let me answer this first, though, really quick. Keith, that's a great question. It's too early to say anything of value about WWE and Endeavor. Literally, it's way too early. With UFC, a lot of changes didn't happen until, like, a year or two in. So just historically speaking. Now, to answer that question, the reality is you can predict who would be the best to buy WWE. I don't know if there's a single buyer that would know what to do with WWE, if that makes sense. NBC would be good in terms of the content strategy, but I don't know how they would be in terms of live events, pay-per-views, things like that. Same with Disney. The only company who really understands that is Endeavor. But I think deep down inside, I think Vince McMahon, and I've been saying this forever, Vince McMahon will sell to the company that will try to keep him in power.
Okay. Yeah,
where he can make.
I was gonna say because that's what I was gonna say.
It
doesn't matter who. It does not matter who buys this company.
Hey, Billy, this dude gets cancel cultured, right? He gets canceled. He comes back. And
that man is uncancelable. What's the word that I'm looking for? He can't be canceled.
Yeah, it's to me, he did what he felt he needed to do so he could get back into the company, which is strange because I guess he could have done it without selling the company.
Yeah, he easily could have.
So there is more reason for it.
Yeah, no, you just took exactly what I was going to say. It does not matter who was going to buy this company. It only mattered along the lines as if Vince had power somewhere along the lines. It was to get Vince back in that higher up seat. And like you said, he didn't need to sell the company. No, in fact, this just made his company, because I know people probably know by now, but this is a merger. There was no money exchanged here. There was no money that went across. No, this just made both of these companies worth a lot more money. And now they feel like they're getting what they deserve.
And you know who I think, this is where I do have a little bit more optimism when I see a merger like this. Yeah. I think the UFC WWE company altogether, it's worth $21 billion was the number, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Vince McMahon and the shareholders for WWE have 49%. Endeavor has 51%. This makes it where Vince McMahon sold to a company, in my opinion, I don't know, I'm not a financial guy. You know, I'm pretty good with financials, but like,
but still,
without doing a deep dive into the numbers,
when you're playing with billions, I mean, how much of a financial guy can we really be?
Exactly, especially when you're not even worth $1 billion. So, wait, my channel's worth $12 billion.
Yeah, $12 billion. We had the conversation last night.
Yeah, you remember? Whoever was here yesterday will remember. But my point that I'm making though is like, without going deep dive into the numbers, 49% is still a significant amount of money, which tells me that Vince McMahon will end up making more money when the time is ready. When the time is to cash out those stocks and the ownership or whatever it may be, when he's set to really, really retire, I think that's where Vince McMahon will end up cashing out. And
obviously that'll happen. Now,
I think that's all for this. So he gets to stay in power, make a whole bunch of money, and that's it.
Now, I know we don't talk about this, right? But the crappy part is when you look at the family, right? This was a family-oriented business.
Oh, I'll always shit on that though.
Yeah, because that's just what I gotta say. Like that sucks. That sucks for the family, because now you have a guy in Ari Emanuel who really doesn't understand WWE. Maybe he does. I don't know.
No. He understands. Endeavor, just so you know, Endeavor had partnerships with WWE beforehand.
Okay, but so what I'll say to that is...
Hold on, really quick, just so people know. To be fair, Endeavor was working with WWE for the On Location project, where like it's like a whole VIP experience for live events and pay-per-view events and stuff like that. So if you're traveling, it's a whole experience thing.
Like the fan access?
No, it's a little bit different than that. But nonetheless, without getting into a deep dive, it was very, very successful for WWE when they did that. So just to give you guys an idea, they were able to do this because of Endeavor. So it's not like it was just a random company. They definitely did have a relationship beforehand, if that makes sense. Yeah. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. But no, it feels crappy. It feels like, and we're not going to discuss Vince the human. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But I will say that it just feels like, you know, he's got grandchildren. You know, that's stuff that you can... This is so big, and wouldn't you want your family to have that?
Well, hold on. Yes.
Go ahead.
He'll have more money now because of the merger.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
That's the sad part. So I don't know. I mean, to me though, just like in terms of ownership, I think it's the worst thing that can happen. If I built a business, and I know some people will disagree, but if I built a business that was like the WWE worth $10 billion and I had the opportunity to sell it, I wouldn't. I would make sure my kids, my family.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure, I'd pass it down. Family business.
That's all
maybe
that is.
That's the difference between me and a lot of people. I think a lot of people would try to make the money, but for me personally, in my own character, I would try to pass down all of my riches to my family for generations to come.
Money isn't forever. Not
bro,
for
and Vince McMahon's old as fuck, bro. He's like 78 years old, man. Come on.
Money is not forever. It doesn't go with you.
You know, and the thing is, exactly, and Stephanie and Stephanie's not involved, you know, so that's an interesting thing. Like, Stephanie's not involved, Triple H is, and he's getting a pay raise, which, I mean, I think is great.
Great, yeah.
But, you know, I think at the end of the day, like, Vince is still involved in the WWE, and he's got this executive chairman role, and that's great. But at the end of the day, if Ari Emanuel wants to, like, hey, you know what, Vince, it ain't working out, man.
Yeah,
I gotta let you go.
Him.
All right, he could cash out, make some money, and dip, you know?
But that's the crappy part, right? Because now because I know earlier they talked about legacy and how he doesn't get to write his legacy, and then Ari like chimed in and was like, "No, that's you writing your legacy." well, for me, personally speaking, it just, not to say that he ruined his legacy, but it kind of goes out the window, right? Because your legacy is just what you did in the last, we'll say, 6-7 years. I want to say the last real good time Vince, I think, was really booking really good, that what I felt was good wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like the SmackDown Live, and I don't even know who was writing that at the time. Was it? It could have been Paul Heyman.
No, it wasn't Paul Heyman.
No,
I can't remember.
No, it wasn't. No.
It could have been Vince, honestly. But
Yeah,
to be fair, Vince didn't really have a decline until COVID. I feel like after 2019, like once 2020 hit, it was like, oh, now like Vince has always kind of been the same, but it became way more known in 2019
and noticeable
after COVID, I would say.
Yeah, because at some point you like accept the fact. You know what I mean? You like accept the little things, and obviously
it
that's
becomes
why
a norm, bro.
Exactly. It becomes a norm, and you don't expect anything else.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you think about it, though, and I'm not gonna sit here and like, there's a lot of things that I pressed WWE about today. There was a lot of things I was unhappy about, but there's things too when you sit down and think about it. It's like it's really not that much different than what Triple H was doing to begin with.
But I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
The fact that you can come onto this live stream and you can say, well, if Cody gets buried by Brock,
yeah, that's a fear that I have.
That's a bold statement to make, because the fact that that's a fear should tell you everything you need to know.
That would be a fear regardless of the news, though, today. That's just how I am.
I just don't see Triple H booking it this way, because
no, I do. I 100% do. You don't think the whole conversation for months is that Cody hasn't faced adversity. Now we get to the point where Cody's facing adversity.
And he faces the adversity. Yes, I understand that.
So you don't think Triple H would book that, or you think Vince McMahon is smart enough to do it? Because I don't think Vince McMahon. I don't think Vince McMahon decides.
Vince did it 10 years ago.
I don't think Vince is going with this idea of, hey, I'm going to have Brock.
And use the same person for the next night. Literally the same person. Literally the exact same person.
Billy.
Or 11 years ago.
Billy.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to tell you is Brock burying Cody Rhodes, the reason why it's a fear is because we want to see Cody Rhodes get the adversity. We want to see him go through the uphill battle of becoming the guy, right?
Yes.
Now, the thing is, historically speaking, what has always been the issue in WWE? Not letting people who get over become the guy. That's why the fear exists. And it doesn't matter if it's Triple H. It doesn't matter if it's Vince McMahon. It doesn't matter if it's Ari Emanuel. It doesn't matter if it's Nick Khan. It doesn't matter if it's Sally Joe. It doesn't matter who it is.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, my feeling would remain the same. I would still have that fear. Because historically speaking, this is the thing people forget about WWE, because we're reactionary to what's happening in the moment. And this is why when I calm down and I sit and talk, you see that I'll point flaws and then I'll praise certain things, logically speaking. But the things that I'm mad about, that I'm boiling about, it's just because I know historically speaking, WWE has fucked up in those areas. So I'll give you an example. And I was telling my cousin this today. You know what it felt like to me when I saw Triple H cutting that promo today? A couple years ago when The Authority came out and cut a promo telling the crowd, you are the authority. Years ago. Because there was so much backlash, they went and told everybody there's going to be change and WWE is going to be better and we hear you. Because the feedback from fans was that WWE's product was ass. I can't remember what year that was, but I remember that. They did hey guys, we're not the authority. You're the authority. We hear you. That's what tonight's promo kind of felt like.
That was 2016. Yeah, I remember that.
Sounds right. And I remember telling my cousin, I was like, man, it just feels like that was kind of the promo. Because historically speaking, you kind of look at it and you're like, that's what it feels like. However, Triple H era, we'll say Triple H era, it didn't feel like it was that much different. The only, in terms of the booking of the show, in terms of the promo though, it did feel like that one moment where they said everybody's the authority.
And then it just completely pooped the bucket.
But again, I think everybody had high expectations for major surprises, and then they were disappointed. And I think that's WWE's fault, because WWE should know, even though they're not promoting it, right? That's what WrestleMania, Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania are known for. And last year they fucking didn't do much, and this year they didn't either. You know.
Yeah, so one thing I want to mention is somebody in your chat, True Flight 11 said Vince was booking booking Cody really strong when Cody came back last year. And to that I will say yes,
he did.
He was. He did. He booked Cody very strong, which gives me hope for this story that it still remains on course.
Of course.
Because we got the Sammy thing. Happy, right? Everybody thumbs up?
Yeah.
We can all agree, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Continue that good booking.
Yeah.
Continue that good booking. Because, yes, Vince was doing a great job with Cody, and I will not knock him for that. And I felt like it was very easy to book Cody coming in.
Yeah.
It was, because we knew about everything with AEW and all the other companies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a very easy story to tell. And now it gets even easier with this. Just do not mess this up.
Kai, I want to throw this in there. Hardy16 says that's a burial style of a WWE to an AEW guy. And I just kind of want to throw this in there. And this is definitely going to ruffle some feathers. This will definitely piss people off. But I'm not saying anything based on waving the flag. You guys heard me bury WWE earlier. There is some good things that AEW is doing these days. However, Tony Khan and AEW can never, ever, ever get to this level that WWE is currently at.
No.
With the way that they're doing things.
Not right now.
So I do not look at AEW as a serious competitor to WWE. I never have. I don't think they need to be. I think you could be successful without being a serious competitor.
And still put on great shows.
Yeah. I just think there's no way in hell that AEW can, if they tried to pull off a WrestleMania like WWE did, and you know, WWE did it twice. So if AEW was able to even pull it off once, I mean, that would be impressive. But I don't even think they can even get remotely close to that. And the thing is,
right now, make that.
I don't think. I think based on what they've done in the last 4 years, I don't think they'll ever get to that point. I don't think there will ever be a serious challenger brand to WWE. I never believe that. Historically speaking, TNA tried.
That's a tough thing to say.
It's not tough. Show me the evidence in 4 years.
It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years.
So in 30 years.
So you're saying 4 years, and I'm saying it's been 4.
I know. So what I'm telling you, though, is in 4 years, they haven't done anything to show us that they're actually improving their product. In fact, it went on a downward trend.
It did.
So what I'm trying to tell you, so what I'm saying, though, is to get to WWE's level, you cannot be at a downward trend.
I won't.
You can't just flip the switch. Because here's the thing. Guess what? Here's the reality. Here's the reality, Billy. If you go back to the WWE network, because it's different too, you're 25, you're young. We're all relatively young. But if you go back and look at the Attitude Era, and I remember as a kid, I didn't care for the Attitude Era. I really didn't. I was a WCW kid. Like, I was one of those kids where I truly believed that WCW was better than WWE. And then as I got older and I would go watch it back on the network, I still firmly believe WWF was ass. Booking was bad. But I always knew that
Vince McMahon, entertainment value.
But so even that too, right? WWE always understood that characters were important.
Mattered. Yes.
And he always understood that pay-per-views mattered. So you would actually always see Vince McMahon have DQ finishes all the fucking time. That's like a real thing in the Attitude Era. It's like really common. You would see that a lot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
but I've
gone back and watched.
It was the pay-per-view model. You're trying to sell the big pay-per-views, then you get the payoff, and then you start new stories, and it's the rinse and repeat. So the thing is, WWE got massive to the point where as an entity, regardless of booking, which we have seen in the last 20 years, sometimes booking isn't good and they were still making money.
Now, my argument
not just making money, but they were making record-breaking money.
My argument to that is that things evolve. Yeah, that worked in the 90s. Obviously, we've seen it work.
Yeah.
It's the year 2023 where there are top athletes. And let's be real here. All these wrestlers, AEW, WWE, MLW, Impact, it doesn't matter where they are athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You have these wonderful athletes who go out there, and whether you like to say wrestling's fake or whatever the case may be, those guys go out there and they take bumps every single day.
Yeah.
Right? They put their bodies on the line. To say that, yes, that worked in the rinse-repeat method, it was great 30 years ago, but now these guys, they want to go out there and they want the payoff because they've worked hard for the payoff.
Who?
Not saying that those guys did. Yeah, just the wrestlers in general. Not saying that those guys did not work hard, but that worked then And now people are voicing their opinions saying, this is not what we want. We want change. When do you get that change? Right?
I'm going to be real with you, Billy.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking in the chat and some people are like, well, AEW has better TV weekly and this and that, right? And to me, this is not worth arguing, right? Because everybody's going to have their own cup of tea. It doesn't matter. I said this on the round table, like everybody kind of has like their own, what they specifically look for.
Yeah.
But when it comes to business, not physical television shows, but when it comes to business, there is a difference between WWE and AEW. And
the business model itself, 100%.
Similar models. They're both television, trying to get television rights, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
AEW also tries to sell pay-per-views for $50 a pop. So it's really, really important that they develop great stories going into pay-per-views. If AEW is selling 125,000 pay-per-views at $50 a pop, I don't know how many millions that is, but that's quite a few million. But at the same time, too, AEW, which I'm sure we'll see them get a nice TV deal in the future. I expect one. I don't know. I don't have any sort of inside info, but just as somebody who studies television and television rights, I would expect them.
In 2024?
2023 or 2024, I can't remember. I'm sure they'll start renegotiations soon, whatever it is. But in my belief, I would expect that they would be able to get a really good TV deal. Now, people will sit there and talk about ratings. People will talk about key demographics and whatever. The reason why that's all irrelevant to me is because we're in the content business. So companies like AEW and WWE, what they have is content, weekly content. Live wrestling goes year-round, right? That's valuable. So even if ratings go up or down, ratings go up and down, as long as you keep providing content to a strong enough audience, my belief is that it's worthy of a good television rights deal. That's my belief, right?
Yeah.
So WWE and AEW are very similar in that regard. However, AEW does not work on character development. They don't work on crafting these intellectual properties. Their whole thing is like, hey, you can go to Impact or MLW, get your character over, and then we can sign you and put you on TV. And we won't own your character. We won't do these things. Right. That's great. I think there is nothing wrong with that on a personal opinion. But in my professional opinion, as somebody, if I were owning a business, and I'm only saying if I were to own a business, and let me make it very clear, I'm not saying you're going to be a failure either way or successful either way. But in my opinion, the right way has always been based on characters, intellectual properties, trademarks, things like that. So, for example, Disney. I hate the comparison because I obviously didn't want WWE under Disney. But if you look at Disney or if you look at Warner Media is a great example, actually. Warner Media had the trademarks and the intellectual properties of like Harry Potter, for example, and so many other things. So when you have those big IPs, when you're licensing the characters for merchandise or for television shorts or content or whatever it may be, you're able to make a lot of money from that. Mm-hmm. So it's not that I think AEW is a shitty product or a shitty company. It's just they do things so differently, which I think at some point they're going to hit a ceiling. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like, I'm not sitting here saying it's a bad thing. But what I'm trying to say is with WWE, there is no ceiling. They can have the shittiest product on a week-to-week basis and lose to AEW every single week, but the characters that they're coming up with and the brand identity and the visibility that the brand has will trump everything. So this is something that a lot of people might disagree with me on, but I don't think there's a superstar that makes the WWE. And I think this is where it gets scary with Endeavor. Like, guys,
WWE makes WWE.
So exactly. So my whole thing is like Bray Wyatt. I love Bray Wyatt. I'm confused with what's going on. I don't want to speculate on personal issues. That's not me. If he's got something personal going on, God bless. Hopefully everything's taken care of. Whatever's going on personally or health-wise, that's none of my business. If they want to come up with it or announce it, that would be great because it would be nice to know about it. But at the end of the day, if it's a private matter, it's a private matter. It's none of my business. Okay. It depends on your scenario, right? Obviously, they're not advertising him right now or whatever the case may be. But I like Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt had the Fiend character. At the end of the day, that becomes a WWE IP. So
it's
video games.
Intellectual property.
It's that intellectual property that they own. And then if they bring up Joe Gacy and say, Joe Gacy, we're going to create a version of the Fiend for you as well. And we're going to call it
The monster.
The monster. Yeah, some stupid bullshit, right? They come
Yeah.
up with Joe Gacy the monster, and he gets a crazy mask. Now it becomes a costume, and it becomes a thing that you're selling everywhere. See, the thing is, AEW doesn't have that. What AEW has is Kenny Omega, who's a great wrestler, and we'll sell a whole bunch of stuff on Pro Wrestling Tees, and we'll sell live tickets to an event, and we'll do these things. And again, I'm not saying that can't be successful, right? But I'm saying I think it hits a ceiling. So WWE has shown us, even if the creative is bad, they can still be massively successful. And the reality is, if they say, hey, we don't want Bray Wyatt, that's okay. Technically speaking, they can just put a Fiend mask on somebody else and nobody will ever know. I mean, they probably would, but technically they can do that because they own the IP.
Now, one thing I'll say, right? One thing that I want to mention is we talk so much about all this, right? We have these big conversations, and they're huge. What's the one thing that we're all voicing our opinions for, really? The one thing that we're all voicing our opinions for is change. We just want change.
I don't want change.
You don't want change?
No, I don't want change.
No. You're fine with how everything is.
In what ways? Gotta be specific.
In the booking, in the way everything is flowing right now, you believe everything's fine.
With WWE and AEW, or just WWE, or just one company, or what?
We'll talk WWE.
What I want, my life is personally not impacted by WWE delivering good creative or not.
Well, neither is mine, truth be told.
So here's the thing. If I make a video in WWE, like today, for example, I felt like it was a very unimportant episode of Raw. It was logical. Yeah. It was logical. We didn't get 20 DQ finishes. Like, there was some good that came out of it, in my opinion, but it didn't feel like the most important episode of Raw to the standards that I have for a post-WrestleMania Raw. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I still could talk about it, and that's my job. Right?
And yeah.
So to me, good or bad, I'm still going to talk about it. Same thing with AEW. So what I campaign for is not necessarily change, right? What I campaign for me, is a healthy overall wrestling business.
It's fair.
That's me. Fair. That's me. So, and I believe the way to get there is by creating compelling storylines, compelling TV, compelling characters. And so if you look at me watching AEW, right, I'll tell you right now, AEW, I feel like in the last 8 weeks has been tremendous TV, right?
Yeah.
More specifically, in the last 3 weeks, it has been the best AEW episodes they have ever put on TV, ever.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do every single week forever. They cannot do what they did in 2022 and get off track.
No, I agree.
Because,
I agree with that statement.
Because they got off track on 2022, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. In 2022, when I would talk about AEW, I would tell people it's ass. I have no problem saying it. Because there's people out there who maybe they're afraid to lose media credentials. Maybe they're afraid to not get access to, maybe they're afraid to losing access to interviews. I don't know. That's fine. I mean, I get it. It's a business. I understand. I'm not hating on that. But for me, I'm fully independent. And I'm just a YouTuber talking about wrestling, giving my opinion on wrestling and talking about these things. And in my mind or in my head, that's not what I want to watch. And I made that very abundantly clear. In fact, if I missed a review or if I missed a video, like I didn't want to talk about something, people would say, well, why didn't you talk about it? And I would be truthful. It doesn't interest me, right?
Right. And it's just because I didn't want to.
I'd make that choice. So for example, today, did I truly want to stream tonight? No, I didn't. I think if you follow me on Twitter, it was pretty obvious this did not feel like an important episode of Raw.
Nope.
You know, but I get that choice. So to me, it's not so much about whether the show is good or bad. It's about seeing the industry being healthy, which this is why I say all the time, it is so good that AEW exists, because when people do leave WWE or people leave Impact or people leave MLW, there's another place on the market that is a reliable place for people to work. People don't remember. I won't say the names, but there's promotions, several promotions actually. So it's not uncommon to hear about this in wrestling, but there's several promotions out there who used to have a hard time paying talent. Recent years, 30 years ago, that's not uncommon to hear in wrestling. You know what I mean? You never hear stories of AEW, somebody breaking their leg in an AEW ring and not getting it paid for. You never hear about stories of people not getting paid every 2 weeks or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So to me, that's what I want. Now, when I give my opinions on wrestling, it's because I think the overall way to get to this healthy industry is by creating compelling stories and compelling characters and things like that. So If I don't think they're doing it, I will call it out. And this is why I've been such a fan of like the Kenny Omega and the Elite storyline with Don Callis and everything, because it's like that's what we know AEW is really good at. And if they keep doing stories like that, and not just that one storyline, but other storylines similar to that, wow, like that's even better. That means they can grow. But it doesn't change the fact that there's still fundamental issues. And again, I'm only talking from my own perspective as a fan of wrestling and the way I see wrestling. I'm not saying my wrestling is right. I have no idea what it takes to put a couple $1 billion into a wrestling company like Tony Khan or Vince McMahon or Endeavor or Anthem Entertainment with Impact. I don't know what that experience is like to spend that type of money on running a company. So maybe my stuff is valid, maybe it's not valid. But at the end of the day, that's just the way I feel. And I mean, I can talk about this now. I can publicly talk about this. I've had ideas for running my own independent promotion in Michigan because of the Michigan wrestling scene. The indie wrestling scene is very, very, very small.
Very small.
But it's a very big market for independent wrestling. And the thing is, I have a pay-per-view subscription model that I've talked with people about and I've surveyed people about. And I will tell you guys, like, in my head, when I look at this pay-per-view model, I think it's one that makes sense for a lot of people. The events would be more special. This is like the idea is to help create an independent wrestling scene in Michigan. So because it's such a small industry and it very is. It's very hard to get something like that off the ground. I don't know what everything entails. So obviously you got to have a talent of people and a team of people as well. But in my mind, when I look into this and I'm talking to people and I'm having conversations with people, one of the things that I've been told specifically is, hey, you understand wrestling.
Which you do.
I think I do with my own perspective and own twist. And that's why I always say, I don't think Tony Khan's way is wrong. I just think there's a ceiling on it. Now, also running an independent company, I am not going to be like WWE, obviously. So that's why I know that firsthand. I'm not going to sit here and come up with characters and intellectual properties and trademark a whole bunch of shit. Really what it comes down to is I'm going to hire talent, hire a venue, book a venue, hire talent, create stories and matches and have a card and, bring talent in and then hopefully sell tickets and then sell pay-per-views. But I have an idea to do something quarterly. So the idea would be 4 times a year and then they would all be streamed and there would be a whole bunch of stuff, and that's my opinion. Like, I feel like that's where I would, that's where my opinion comes from because it's something I want to do, but it costs money. And by the way, the wrestling industry, and this is why I respect Tony Khan so much, people forget because they don't realize how many billionaires have come into this industry or tried to come into this industry and start a wrestling company only for them to back out because they don't have the balls to actually do it. So that's why I say, like, with Tony Khan, like, I'm not a pocket watcher. If Tony Khan wants to sign talent and pay a shit ton of money for talent, good, do your thing. You know what I mean?
That's on you.
Yeah, like, that's your money. But at the same time, too, it's what you do with them. That's what I judge.
Right.
So you never hear me say, oh, I think it's stupid that they signed Adam Cole. No. But you'll hear me say, the way they're using Adam Cole is questionable. That's just a hypothetical. That's, just as an example. Does that make sense?
Which right now, speaking on Adam Cole, feels good. I like what they're doing with Adam Cole right now.
I'm tired of Chris Jericho.
Baby face.
Chris Jericho is one of my favorites of all time, and he just, in my opinion, he needs to get away from Jericho Appreciation Society. But that's a whole different conversation for Wednesday night,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, that's just kind of how it is.
I like this conversation, man. Yeah, I really like this conversation.
But that's what I'm saying, too, man. It's like, again, and I think, like, somebody, I was talking about it on Twitter, too, and it was just like a little fun conversation. But one of my followers, Imai, I think was his name. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. His thing was like, oh, it was reported that WWE was changing the script 3 or 4 times backstage. 3 or 4 times backstage, and then they did it while the show was going, And which is like, that's fine. He's like, but if this is the case, I can't watch WWE anymore. And like, I understand that frustration, but then also at the same time, too, it's like, that doesn't make sense. Right? Oh, if they keep changing the script, how do you know? WWE doesn't tell you when they change the script.
No, and you're not supposed to know.
Correct. That's not public information that you're privy to. That comes from Sean Ross or Dave Meltzer or Mike Johnson. So ultimately, like, I get that perspective if they're changing the script, but you're not supposed to know if they're changing the script. You're not even supposed to know. Technically, you're not supposed to know what the script is. So, like,
that's a weird thing to be mad at.
For sure. And then he was like, no, I guess that makes sense. And I'm like, it's not about
Yeah.
making sense or not. The point is that I'm making is like, you're supposed to judge the product head on. So if you don't
Right.
like the product for what they're putting on TV, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's logical, even if I think it's the greatest thing in the world, and I think
It's okay to disagree.
for sure. But I was telling him, I was like, I just think it is kind of odd that you would say, oh, well, you can't watch WWE anymore if they keep changing the script. How do you know? You're going off a dirt sheet report. And it's like the people who are getting mad, oh, Jay White hasn't been on TV. Well, hold on. Who said Jay White signed with WWE?
WWE. Nobody did.
We're going off dead dirt sheet reports and teases and things like that. So
Right.
obviously on my channel, I talk about all these things, but I tell people, like, this doesn't guarantee that he's in WWE. These are just the
No.
rumors. Now,
Right.
one thing that is very significant too, and I'll point this out because I think this is important to mention, there's a difference, and I'm not going to go too deep into this, but when WWE talent like Cody Rhodes signed with the company, it leaked.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Dave Meltzer backing off the leak. Oh yeah, he's staying in AEW. He's not going to WWE.
Yeah,
Right?
there was a lot.
There was a lot of back and forth.
Backing out. There was a lot of backing out. A lot of people did.
A lot of back and forth on those names.
Yep.
That's not necessarily happening with Jay White, but if you look at other wrestlers who, by the way, signed with AEW, their stuff doesn't always get leaked.
No.
So that's why I was like, oh, maybe Jay White is going to AEW. Now, do I personally care where Jay White goes? No,
I was
think,
just about to say.
I think Jay White's a hell of a talent, but him signing with WWE or AEW is not going to make me think differently of his talent. However, the way the company books him will make me think differently about the way they've booked him.
Right.
So if he goes into AEW and he's booked like shit, I'm going to point that out. If he goes to WWE and he's booked like shit, I'm going to point that out. Because I think he's...
You let it be known.
Because I think he's good enough to be booked very well. But that's just my opinion, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jay White's a hell of a talent, and wherever he goes, man. I mean, you know, when people read online about all these reports and stuff, again, just know that nothing is guaranteed. Nothing. These are things that we're not supposed to know as the regular person watching the products.
And that's
no
what
matter what
say,
company.
If you're watching something where you're pissed off, but you weren't supposed to know about, like, it's not public information.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, bro, but I think you're an idiot. I feel that way 100%. I don't care if you're upset about dirt sheet news.
Right.
Because these dirt sheets, and you know, the thing is, I talk about the stuff that they report, obviously, because I talk about current topics, current events based in wrestling. But
right, because it's just valid discussion.
For sure. But at the same time, too, I seen the reports about Gangrel being part of Christian's or Edge's entrance. He wasn't there. And I pointed that out in my video. I said, just keep in mind, just when wrestlers tease or, you know, when there's these reports of being involved, like, you know, they go to WrestleCon, they do things outside of things, like, it doesn't mean they're going to be there, you know, just keep that in mind.
Exactly. Just because they're in the same place does not mean that they're going to show up or whatever the case may be.
So I have pointed that out, you know what I mean? And I've said that a couple times, and I just want it to be clear. And I think that's, I think that's where I have an issue with dirt sheets, because the media company, the dirt sheet company that put out that report still hasn't retracted anything or apologized for it. And, you know, there's a lot of things that have come out, and that's not the only story, but throughout the years.
Some people just be willing to take the fall.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, media literacy is so important. And you know what? Like, that's where Sean Ross Sapp, I don't know what his actual accuracy is, but if there's somebody who I feel like really does a good job with it, whether he likes me or dislikes me, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have conversations with Sean Ross Sapp, so I wouldn't think that there's an issue or anything like that. We're in two different lanes. I know Fightful has posted my videos on their website before, so I'm not saying this from like a bias or anything. I just feel like Sean Ross and Fightful do a really good job with the reports that they put out there. You know, I think there is a level of accuracy for the most part. I would say almost always, and I could be wrong, obviously, but I feel like almost always stuff that they are privy to and that they announce.
I was about to say, it feels like with Sapp, it's just more the less he gets his information. He waits. He
does like his due diligence, you know?
Yes, exactly. He pays respect to it almost.
So he does it, I think, in the right way. But the reason why I bring that up, though, is because if Sean Ross were to drop a report, right, at the end of the day, if Sean Ross were to drop a report says Jay White is expected to show up in WWE, and by the way, let me just make it clear, hypothetical, what if? This is not a real scenario. But if Sean Ross put out an article saying, hey, today Jay White has signed with the company. He's expected to debut via the Titantron via satellite segment. The reason why I'm using this is because it's very specific, right?
Yeah, I was about to say you're getting down to the nitty-gritty.
I'm getting to the nitty-gritty. Let's say Sean Ross Sapp is right in the sense that Jay White is on TV, but he's not via satellite. He's actually there, right? I would still look at that as like an accurate report. He was there. Right?
Yeah, like you at least knew that.
But if he doubled down on something so specific and then he was wrong, I can't get mad at WWE
for not doing what that was.
Correct. I cannot get mad at WWE.
Maybe the story just changed or the day changed.
Could have been anything. Doesn't matter. Right. But I can't get mad at Sean Ross Sapp. I can't. At the end of the day, I can't, because Sean Ross and Fightful, they have, you could pay $5 a month, I think is what it is. Like, do you see what I'm saying? So people sometimes they get mad at WWE or AEW based on what dirt sheets are telling you, but you can't get mad at the wrestling promotion. You got to get mad at the media company providing this information. So, and that's why I said it's very important, media literacy in regards to people who are actually writing these reports. That's where I don't put over a lot of people, but that's why I would put over Sean, because I feel like he's very accurate in that regard.
Yeah, exactly.
And trust me when I say it's very rare where I put over
due diligence.
He does that. So, but then I see people like, oh, well, WWE reportedly changed the script 4 times. Fuck WWE. That's the reason why Raw is ass, right? Well,
yeah.
Hold on. Raw is ass because you just don't like the show. But don't say it's because they changed the script 4 times.
Right.
Because whether they change it 4 times, a million times, or 0 times, it doesn't really matter. That's none of your business. That's not WWE telling you that. You know.
Right. No, you do. You have to, especially with something that we know is scripted, you have to face that one head on.
Which one?
Do. Just wrestling in general, right? When we look at these shows, you can't go into this and be like, oh yeah, because the script changed, I hate this company, this, that, and the third. You can't do that. No, you know it's scripted and things change. It's life. Welcome to it. You know what I'm saying? To sit there and bash something because you didn't like the fact that a report, just kind of what you said, man. It's stupid. It's really dumb. I'm not going to lie to you. It's very dumb. Obviously, people can have their opinions or whatever, but it's stupid.
I know this is kind of off topic because it's about Raw, and I don't want to talk too much about AEW, but when Dante Martin got injured at ROH, I saw a lot of people were yelling at Tony Khan on Twitter. And
really?
It's like, do I think they need to be doing spots like that with the ladder and the tables and the Canadian destroyers and stuff? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it helps the product. I don't think it makes me want to watch more. I mean, that's me. Maybe it does for other people, but for me personally, it doesn't.
Like, you could have went the whole match without it.
Yeah, but to sit there and point fingers at Tony Khan and be like, it's his fault. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're mad at Tony Khan. So it's like, again, dude, I'm super fair. I'm super open to a lot of things, and I like to deep dive on stuff. And that's why even today when I watched Raw, I was like, bro, like, I was kind of bored. But then also, like, as I was watching, I really liked the tag team match, and I liked Rhea and Bianca going face to face.
Yep.
I like the Bloodline stuff. I like the Cody stuff. I like the Dom and stuff. But, like, yeah, to me, I didn't like the Omos squash match, but mainly because I was like, not because he lost at Mania. I understand him doing a squash match, but my thing is, like, it's random, and you didn't tell a story with the Hurt Business, which we've been teasing for a while. So if you're dragging it out, get to the fucking point, right?
Right.
Or, to another extent, I would say, if
add
you
an extension to it. That's what I'd say.
Give us another tease. Let us know that there's some. Again,
it's still there.
Not every match needs a story, but every story needs a purpose. So this was like, what my question mark was, what is the purpose of this? I don't mind him squashing Elias. To me, Elias will always be a great talent, but he fits the role of being a mid-card, low-card guy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think he's a good talent. Get your money, but that's it. You know?
Right.
I think if you want to book him as a top guy, you technically can. You could book anybody, by the way. Bro, if WWE wants to make me the world champion today, they could. It's just how you go about it creatively to do so.
Yeah.
So there's just certain things. Everybody has a role. To me, I just felt like it was a questionable decision to put Omos in that spot for no reason. Like, there was no purpose. Celsius in the chat says, dude, the women's tag match was the most random match ever. 2 losers of Mania fight for a title chance. WTF. Yeah, so
that's a good point.
It is, and I think the reason for this is because Ronda's injured, but that's WWE's job to tell us, right?
Yeah, didn't she have a broken arm or something like that?
Something. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. I
Yeah.
don't know the whole situation. I think it's super strange. I don't get it. But at the end of the day, to me, the downside to it, at least the upside is, hey, at least they have a women's tag team match. Because for me personally, I just see that they've pretty much done nothing with the division. I think it's random, you know. But when you look at Raw,
even with Triple H, there was really nothing with the division
for sure. So I was like, okay, cool. At least it's on TV still. Hopefully next week, because we know next week it's going to be on TV. Sounds like, in my opinion, Lita and Becky are going to drop the belts. Okay, cool. Like, hopefully on SmackDown they have another women's tag team match. You know.
Yep.
Let's build that division. Do the right thing. Then I can't complain about it. I can't. I would be a hypocrite to sit there and complain about something when I've been saying, hey, you should like do something with it, you know? And obviously things take time. The Ali thing, I didn't mind Ali getting squashed because of the character thing.
That one I did mind that a little.
But he's been getting squashed every week though. There's a storyline with it. So I can't get mad at that. For how I watch wrestling, I can't get mad at that. I can't point fingers. I can't look at that and be like, oh, that's a Vince move. Because I'm sorry, that's not really a Vince move in my opinion. The whole character is that he's supposed to be a positive guy, positive Ali, and then he's getting squashed. Obviously, they're teasing stuff more with Ali now. Yeah. So you have to get to that story and tell the story and progress it. So I look for progression. They technically did that. They put Bronson Reed to confront Bobby Lashley tonight.
Bobby Lashley, yeah.
Like, I'm cool with that. I like that. So again, my issue wasn't the booking of tonight, and that's why I think a lot of people need to relax on how they react to this. It just was a very unimportant.
There was some questionable things.
Not even the questionable things. To me, it's unimportant. That's it.
Okay.
To me, it's unimportant. What's questionable?
Just the whole like, I don't know. It just, and maybe it is just that, right? Maybe it is just
there's a certain standard that we have for Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania.
Yes. It just didn't feel like how it was supposed to.
You would think the way the expectations were with the promo in the beginning, first
and
hour is
how big WrestleMania was.
For sure. See, now you're seeing what I'm saying. So booking to me, and I swear I told you, I was like, it's just kind of like every other Raw, you know?
Yeah.
But we have different expectations for a show like they provide tonight. And that's why when I see people say this was the worst Raw ever.
It was trending on Twitter.
It was. When I see people saying that, and trust me, when I tell you guys, Twitter is not the end-all be-all. They're a very small minority.
It is not.
They're not. But it is still, in my world of things, being on the internet, it is
important.
Very telling that a lot of people felt the same way. And a lot of people do agree that it just didn't feel important. And I think that's the biggest thing. We can sit here and point fingers at Triple H, Vince, Nick Khan, this person, that person. It doesn't matter who the person is, because the person should have known Raw after WrestleMania includes big, big surprises. Now, that's why I said for Saturday, I'll be disappointed if we don't get big, big surprises, because there are two brands. Friday. I'm sorry. Yeah. But that's why I said I would be upset. Like Friday, if we don't get Cameron Grimes or Braun Breaker or somebody else, I would be upset, because.
And if you're looking to stack that SmackDown roster, I'm fine with that.
Which I think Raw 3 hours definitely doesn't need to stack the roster. You know what I mean?
No.
I think SmackDown is the one that kind of needs the roster. So when I look at SmackDown, and you guys will see when I review the show, and Billy, I'll bring you back on the channel and we'll talk about it.
Yes,
but
sir.
You're going to see my reaction will be a lot more different than being calm. Because I was pissed early in the stream, and then the more I calmed down, I'm like, listen, this is the reality.
Well, that was my thing. I came into this real hot. I'm not going to lie to you.
Of course, bro. Who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
No, like that's the thing. I'm telling you guys, like it's normal to be upset about it. I think so. At least I do. I think it's normal to be upset. But then you got to think it's like, okay, well, logically speaking, Friday is the next brand. You know, maybe they need more people there. You know, maybe Jay White's on SmackDown. Maybe I'm just using this. I'm using this as hypothetical because nobody knows for sure if Jay White's in WWE. But maybe SmackDown's like, hey, no, we want Jay White on here. You know,
right? Exactly. If you're gonna bring in this big star, you got Cody over there.
If we lose Brock,
Jay White.
If Brock's on Raw with Cody, we need Jay White on SmackDown. You see what I'm saying? I don't know, but I can't sit there and be too pissed because maybe they do have something planned for Friday. But if I get to Friday and I don't see surprises, then I'm not gonna be. Let me clarify. If they don't have surprises on Friday, but the booking is good, I'm only going to be mad that it didn't feel as important.
Well, as important.
That's
right.
it. You guys won't hear me criticize the product. Just like there was things I criticized today and things I didn't criticize. That's pretty normal for me. For me, at least. If you watch my content, it's pretty normal to criticize some things. And
you bring a very logical sense to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to this.
Only from my perspective. But that's why I have to be fair in the sense of saying, well, hold on. Because I had to remind myself, I'm like, okay, hold on. They do have another brand. You know, if we don't get LWO on Friday, but they explain why LWO isn't there, I'd be okay with that.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that if they explain it.
But if LWO is not there,
then I'm gonna think, yo, what the fuck are they doing?
Yep.
But you'll see. If they bring surprises and it's booked like normal,
right.
I won't have an issue. I will say one thing that's funny. I would love to hear, Billy, what you think about this.
Yeah.
Which it would be funny if true. This is not anything reported. This is not anything that's like guaranteed or like nothing. You know what I mean? But somebody did tweet me saying, "What do you think if Triple H was running? What if Triple H was running Friday Night SmackDown and Vince was running Raw?
It wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me whatsoever.
Dude,
it would not.
That would be funny, only for the simple fact that
be what it probably already was. Kind of.
Not even that. I just think there's so many different levels that Triple H is above Vince. Which, by the way, Triple H is not a fucking god at booking. Like, we do got to remember that.
No, he has his flaws.
He has his flaws too. Yeah, we saw his flaws even in 2019 NXT. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
He has his flaws, but I just think he is far more. He respects pro wrestling and sports entertainment so much that I feel like he would be super good at booking SmackDown, that it would inevitably smoke the living shit out of Vince McMahon's Raw.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, when I saw that tweet, I was like, when he tweeted me, I was like, yo, the best thing is, I actually hope that is real.
So do I.
Because if Vince McMahon is begging to be in creative power and Ari Emanuel really, really wants him to run creative, then maybe SmackDown could smoke the fuck out of Raw, and then Ari Emanuel's like, all right, Triple H, I want you to be the executive chairman.
Yeah, just prove everybody wrong.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the funny thing about it, you know. It's crazy, like.
Yeah, it's a business thing at the end of the day. It really just comes down to business.
I don't think that's the case, though. I don't think they're competing, you know.
True. But my thing about, we talk about the Vince. No, we don't want you as the chairman. This is all hypothetical. Want to put that out?
Oh yeah. Well, imagine that.
Yeah, dude, that'd be insane.
Axel just put a really good thing. I don't want to, because it's 1:20, so we are going to get off in just a minute. But Axel put this in the chat. So really quick, if you guys have any super chats that you guys want to leave before we call it a night, I'll keep reading a few before we get off. I'm just looking at the chat. Axel said, "Who do you think should win King of the Ring?" And
Cody.
No.
What?
No.
What?
No. Cody doesn't need it. But if that's who you want, that's who you want. If that's who you
I can imagine like a guy like Gunther.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, Gunther's cool. I wouldn't be mad at that. Because you're right. Maybe Cody doesn't need it. Maybe we just get Cody to the title and we do it the traditional way. That's fine.
Yeah, Cody doesn't need to do that.
But Gunther definitely needs it.
I don't think he even needs it either because he's IC champion and he's the fucking best.
He's the man.
But if I see Vince McMahon take the title off Gunther on SmackDown to Braun Breaker, then yo, mark my words, guys. If this happens, that's how you know Vince McMahon's running the show for sure.
Yep.
And if that's the case, I'm sure I will never cover WWE again. At that point, I'll become like a UFC YouTuber or like an NBA YouTuber or something.
That's a bold statement.
That might be an exaggeration, but I'm just saying that would be like, that's how you know Vince McMahon. Like, there's just certain guys you can tell Vince McMahon didn't really.
We knew he didn't like Gunther. We knew that.
I wouldn't say he didn't like Gunther, but he
wasn't high on him.
He wasn't as high on him as Triple H is, you know?
Right, exactly.
Oh. Yeah. So obviously that's something I point out, but I think that's a good question. And then also Seth freaking Rollins in the chat. Seth freaking Rollins fan says, I think Santos. Which, you know, we'll see how the LWO stuff works out. From my understanding, WWE has plans to do it long term. And my belief is that they're looking to add new members. They're looking at making it a massive faction.
Uh-huh.
Which I think is cool. They got the talent to do so. So that'd be cool if you want to do that. Celsius did say Gunther for Money in the Bank. That's who my pick is. I mentioned that in the roundtable with JD, BC, and Jesse.
Yeah.
Gunther for Money in the Bank would be great. And
Seth was another option that I had for Money in the Bank.
I was gonna say Seth, LA Knight, or Gunther are my top 3.
Yeah.
But I also think you can have LA Knight go to King of the Ring and win King of the Ring.
Yeah. There's a couple different ways you can go about those things.
Yeah.
No, I like the idea of a Gunther winning the Money in the Bank. I like that.
Yeah. So a lot of cool things obviously can happen with that, and I'm trying to remain optimistic, dude. It was just tonight didn't feel as important. There was some good stuff, it just didn't feel as important, and obviously that's why I felt a little deflated, and I just felt like, wow, like it's kind of on par with what Triple H has been doing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are often expecting Triple H to just have banger after banger after banger.
Right, exactly. We expect a lot from him.
Yeah, but also at the same time too, it's like, okay, like for example, like I didn't say this on stream, but like I was pissed. I'm like, man, no fucking Johnny Gargano, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, hold on.
But he was on NXT.
And he was in an unsanctioned match.
Right, exactly.
Where
it makes sense.
It could make sense that he's not on TV. So I was like, okay, I got to calm down for a second and not get pissed, you know? Like once I start thinking a little bit more rationally, I'm like, okay, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense. However, at the same time too, that doesn't excuse bad booking. I didn't really see bad booking tonight. I just didn't see important booking, if that makes sense. And I think there's a difference.
Right. I just wanted to laugh a little bit real fast, real quick. NYCBB said, "Where's Bobby Roode?" And I thought that was funny.
Bobby Roode is a tough
That's a tough one, isn't it?
I could have swore he was injured.
For how long?
I can't remember what I read, man. I read something before that he was injured and then WWE pulled him off. I heard something about him becoming an agent. I read something about a whole bunch of stuff. I was confused, to be honest.
Okay. That would make sense.
So I don't know. That's weird. Bobby Roode's weird. But then also, too, man, if you're the WWE, do you bring back Bobby Roode to push him and do something?
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Roode definitely...
He's a longtime veteran, bro. You don't typically do that.
No, not in the era that we're trying to head to, I guess.
We should be building future stars. So that's why I didn't get mad with Theory beating Ray. I love the whole Legend Killer thing. Like, that's going to be cool, you know?
Another thing, X-Con, I want to say. They said we got a nice swerve with Brock, though.
We did.
Yeah, we did. We really did. I thought it was cool.
If Triple H has done one thing right on WWE television in the last 8 months, it's he will end Raw in a way that makes you want more.
Yeah, exactly. And I wanted more out of that because now we're sitting here having this discussion. So
again, that's why, dude, I can't sit here and point the fingers and be like, it's Vince McMahon.
Right.
I can't. Do I think he has influence? Would I say he has a lot more influence today than he did before? With certain things, yes. Certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So that just kind of goes to show you what I've been saying. It's very similar to what I've been saying all day. Is that I feel like maybe he had a little bit more influence, but I don't think it's for better or for worse. Obviously, when I'm tweeting, I have fun on Twitter. So I was like, the local medical facility. Yeah, Vince McMahon is 1,000% booking trash. Like, the thing is, though, do I really, really care about local medical facility being used? Like, I'm sorry, bro, and I get this. Like, people will do this, and if it's you, I have nothing against you. But if you're saying sports entertainment or wrestling, I don't think that makes a difference to me. Like, if Vince McMahon's commentary, it's all the same shit. Umbrella. The same shit, yeah.
Yeah.
So I like Triple H was saying sports entertainment, he would say wrestling. To me, it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, even when Vince took over, he would always say sports entertainment.
So hold on. In the chat, they're saying Sean Ross reported that Vince McMahon. Hold on.
Booking on Raw tonight.
So let's take a look.
I'm about to go look at Twitter.
I'm not seeing anything that says that.
Yeah.
But if that's true, let's just say that's true, then shame on Vince McMahon for lying to everybody on live television.
Yeah, I don't see anything from Sap.
I don't see that. Joshua Brooks, I don't see that. So PW Insider is saying, to no one's surprise, Vince McMahon was personally and heavily involved with tonight's episode of Raw. A number of late rewrites for the episode were ordered before the show and continued as the show well into being in the air directly from Vince, and there was a huge negative shift in morale.
Ooh, yeah.
So here's the thing, though. It's easy to sit there and be, because again, I can't have an emotional reaction to this. This is a company, or this is a media outlet that was the same one who reported Gangrel was going to be in Edge's entrance.
Yeah.
So that's just the only reason why I don't really. And again, like I said, I think Vince did have some influence on the show. Yeah. I think people's morale is going to be really crazy for a while. There's a sale going on. You got to use your brain. I think. Actually, I could speak to this. A couple years ago, I worked for a company that got bought out. Every single day that we were there, we would go to work. We would be pissed and confused and upset because we knew that there was going to be a buyout and we didn't know who they were going to keep and what they were going to do and how they were going to change things and structure and pay and this and that, and that's normal. And again, I'm not defending WWE. Like I said, it did not feel like an important episode. It didn't feel like it was booked as strong as Triple H normally does. But to me, this was definitely not the worst Raw in the world. But at the same time, too, it definitely just my expectations and my standards for what Triple H and WWE typically offer is better and more important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I can agree.
Joshua said Sean Ross Sapp did mention it on his post show for Raw.
Oh, that would make sense.
So if he said that on his show, okay. Yeah, I mean, if that's the case.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That's fair. I mean, at the end of the day, if Vince McMahon wants to go this route, let's say that's the case. If Vince McMahon wants to go the route of ruining the WWE,
go ahead.
If Vince wants to fucking ruin everything, he could. Like I said, it doesn't hurt me. I'm going to talk about wrestling regardless. I cover all the companies. You guys know me. You guys know how I am. I'm 100% unbiased. So that's the cool thing. You guys will see, I'll be very fair. I'm very, very fair.
Very vocal about it, too.
I'm very vocal and I'm very fair. And I just go a little bit deeper with certain things.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like Vince definitely had a little bit more influence on the show, but if it's true that he booked the entire show, then shame on Vince for not fucking making it feel more important.
More important, right? Exactly. And that now falls on him.
Vinny says
the question. If that be the case.
Yeah, Vinny says the question is, if it doesn't turn around, will he still go to SummerSlam? I'm not going to judge the WWE based on one episode.
No. Absolutely
I never will. I'll never do that. Because there are stories that I care about going forward too, so I'm curious on some of these stories.
Cody and that whole thing, that's amazing. Regardless who was booking it.
Yeah, but I will say this, and the hard reality is, I have zero confidence in Vince McMahon. I have zero confidence in Vince McMahon to run a product that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And with mergers and stuff, people will want to leave. People will want to go. But if I could be completely honest with you guys too, I don't have the confidence in AEW either. So.
And that's the standstill.
For me, I don't.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But that's the standstill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That's why and I'm just being realistic too. My favorite promotion's Impact, but I don't think Impact can sign Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and
the Bray Wyatts
of the world. I don't think they could sign them. You know what I mean? So for me, I just feel like I've kind of gotten to a point where,
Okay, so I am on Twitter.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say the name of who I'm reading right now?
Is it a news source or what is it?
Yeah, it's a news source.
Go ahead.
It's PW Insider.
Okay.
They said Vince McMahon firmly back in charge at last night's Raw, and that was 22 minutes ago.
So what about Triple H? Are we just saying he's the head of content and that's it?
I'm not. It's just a tweet that I seen, and there's a link. I could go to the
I'm pulling it up right now. Let's see.
Yeah, okay.
My issue with PW Insider is they've reported stuff before and then...
Yeah.
It ends up being wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's not loading.
I can pull it up, I think. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, you want me to read it off?
No, hold on. Give me one second.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay, give me a second. I'm just taking a look at it now. It's loaded.
Yeah, okay.
So PWInsider.com is told the night started with Paul Levesque on headsets running Raw, but as the taping went on, it was McMahon who was more and more involved as the point person running the show. While McMahon was on headset producing a few times over, WrestleMania 39. So he was on the headset. I was going to say this too. He was involved with WrestleMania 39.
Mm-hmm.
He was at the gorilla position for most of the night's recent taping, directly overseeing the proceedings. Among some talents we spoke with, there was a huge negative shift in morale as they realized that things were going back to exactly where they were before Paul Levesque was placed in as CCO. One source said the place felt nuked, but others didn't go that far. The feeling was that going forward, the likelihood was that Vince McMahon would be overseeing everything again, leaving the creative once again to his whims and sensibilities, although whether that actually plays out remains to be seen. A big part of that feeling of resignation was that Levesque is genuinely liked and trusted by talents, especially since so many came through the WWE NXT system. And for some of them, that feeling of security many felt had run from SummerSlam to WrestleMania was no longer given, and would be a far departure of how some spoke tonight. Other talents more or less shrugged it off, feeling that they always suspected all roads would lead to McMahon being back in central creative role eventually, but wanted to see if this would be a regular thing or whether it just happened last night because McMahon was at TV due to being in Los Angeles for WrestleMania and the acquisition announcement. One person joked WWE was always McMahon's world, and now it's back in the palm of his hand after he willingly gave it up last summer. So here's the thing: it's a lot of he said, she said, with this.
Yeah.
So with this, I don't think it's
too much to throw out.
It's a wait and see.
Yeah, more or less.
It's a wait and see.
See this through.
Not for any other reason, because like I said, I mean, Vince doesn't typically let people wrestle for as long as they did tonight and stuff like that.
Very true. Very true.
So if he's certain things, like I said, there were certain things that was kind of weird, but like certain things were fine. If Vince McMahon's on the headset on SmackDown, we'll know, right? We'll know. It's going to come out. But I will say this. I predicted earlier in the year that if WWE sold, I don't suspect Triple H to be there involved at all. And then today we get the news that, Vince will be in the weeds, and we just know that Vince has always wanted to be back in WWE, and we knew when he stepped down and everything, we knew what was going to happen. So if this does lead to my prediction being right in the sense that Triple H will be gone, good luck to Endeavor, because I don't think there's a future for me as a fan of WWE.
And that's what I was gonna say. It's more or less like a me thing. Like I don't.
Yeah, they'll be successful. They'll make their money. They got the strategy down. They got everything will be fine. But for me, I don't know if that's a WWE that I want to watch. So
me either.
And like I said, I predicted a while ago that if WWE sells, Triple H will be gone. Now we're hearing stories of Vince McMahon being on the headset running Raw. And, I try to be very fair in the way I critique Raw, but there was just something about tonight that didn't feel as important. And I just feel like our expectations with Triple H, it would have been an opposite show. So with that, I want to make it like very clear that if my prediction is right, now that Endeavor, bought WWE, if Triple H is gone, I don't know if this is a company I would want to continue to watch. I don't know if they'll do the things I want, that they've done before. So,
well, the hashtag worst Raw ever isn't a good kickstart. I'll tell you that.
No, it's not. It's a terrible idea. But also at the same time, too, Triple H kicked off Raw tonight telling us that WWE is going nowhere. And maybe, when Triple H tells us WWE is going nowhere, and then I see the rest of Raw, in my opinion, I'm thinking, okay, maybe you guys ain't going anywhere, but maybe I'm leaving. Maybe I'm the one checking out. And you know what? That's Endeavor's problem now. Like, at the end of the day, if Triple H or Vince McMahon is running the show, I don't care who it is. But in my opinion, if this show is not going to feel important after such a great WrestleMania, if we're going to go back to having a downward spiral of weekly content, you know, in my opinion, good luck to Endeavor. I don't know why. I don't know why you were convinced that Vince McMahon is going to be a great thing for you, like running creative. But you know what? If WWE is going nowhere, I'll peace out.
Yep.
You know, that's kind of how I feel. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. Guys, it's 1:38 a.m. And man, these live streams have been going on a lot longer than normal, but they've been so fun.
So much fun.
And guys, we actually did really, really big numbers today. We had 1,000 viewers at some point. So I appreciate you guys for all sticking around and watching. You guys are so incredible. And Billy, thank you obviously for joining me. I feel like we had a great conversation. I got to calm you down a little bit. That always feels good.
Can I say something?
Yeah, you can.
I just want to say something to your chat. Guys, thank you so much for welcoming me onto this. It's very much appreciated. I appreciate coming on here and being able to voice my opinions. I don't do anything along the lines of Ango right here, who is making wrestling content every day. And just to be able to voice my opinion more or less as a fan is very awesome, and it's very cool, and it's fairly highly appreciated.
Yeah.
So yeah, just wanted to say thank you to all you guys too for welcoming me on here and being so open to me.
Yes, thank you guys, and I definitely appreciate that as well. And I'll be live tomorrow after NXT. I definitely have zero concerns there because Vince McMahon ain't never touching my baby NXT. But let's see what happens. Friday will be a real test, and you know, again, I think that PW Insider report is it's an interesting one. But I do want to clarify too that there's always a possibility that Vince McMahon was in Los Angeles and he was doing things, you know. If Vince McMahon's going to be on the headset Friday and it's a really, really good episode, I'm going to critique it based on how I view wrestling, and I'll continue to be fair. If Vince is on the headset and the show is ass, I mean, I'll tell you guys that. So obviously we'll see how things go. But I appreciate everybody watching tonight. Very, 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 very awesome experience. Thank you guys.